important to have a plan. Have a plan and understand what your goals are.
In fact, my camel out there is suffering right now with a broken back.
So I actually found Pepe when it was only a couple of hours old, and I'm like, oh, this is a funny meme.
Oh my god.
Yo! Who is this DJ?
The old man is swing trading over years at a time. And it's like, that's where the real money is made.
The answer is a permanent loss. With single-sided staking, you don't have to worry about impermanent loss.
If you're aware, if you're disciplined, you can hone that into further financial growth.
Financial freedom. So we can actually live life and not have to be constantly living paycheck to paycheck. I mean, that's the ultimate goal, more or less, right?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, crypto degenerates, ducks and squirrels, welcome to this here November 13th episode of the DGen Roundtable's Whiskey Wednesday Ask Me Anything, featuring a surprise guest. We've got Josh Chocolate Taint back. He's joining us for this show tonight. We've also got Zenith. We've got Agent J. We've got myself. My name is Will Stevenson. I'll be your guys' barkeep and host tonight. Some of the stuff that we're going to be talking about, some of the shit that happened today, matter of fact, is the Biden-Harris administration announced that they plan on sending every dollar possible to Ukraine before Donald Trump presidency begins. We also got Elon Musk launching the Department of Government Efficiency. That shit's fucking awesome. Also, the Phantom Wallet has did an update recently. The PHANTOM, the wallet that's good for Solana and a whole bunch of other chains and things like that. They did an update that recently is, some people have been reporting that a lot of their data has been wiping. So we'll talk about that a little bit more. Some shit that happened yesterday, freaking USDC and USDT over the last 1 week, they have increased the number of stable coins minted by $5 billion. And also Coinbase has launched what's essentially like the Coinbase version of the S&P 500 is called the Coin 50. So I think that's going to be basically their top 50 coins and things. And then some stuff that happened on Monday. We got Bitcoin flipping silver for the 8th largest market cap in the world. FTX suing BNB for $1.6 billion and a whole bunch of other shenanigans. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, again, my name is Will Stevenson. I'm an iron worker. I travel the United States and I build TV towers for a living. And when I'm in my off time, I like to chat to assholes such as these gentlemen over here about cryptocurrency and my feelings. We've got Josh. He focuses on personal betterment, self-improvement, some of the stuff going on at the larger scale market caps, or not market caps, excuse me, macroeconomics, and also things going on up at the federal level. We've also got Zenith over here, our resident, what would you call yourself, Zenith? You're our legal expert, as well as another government and large scale stuff.
Legal and government studies, if you will.
Legal and government studies. That's excellent. I'm gonna have to make a copywriting thing for introducing each of you guys. And we also got Agent J, our great value technical analyst. All of us here today are super stoked to be talking about some of the stuff going on. But before we get into that, gentlemen, what's new and exciting with you? Starting with my good friend Josh. Bro, you look good, man. You look good. You already know I'm going to ask you to flex on screen. You've been doing a fantastic weight loss and workout shit going on recently. Josh has lost. Bro, how much weight have you lost over your journey?
Ultimately, I started at 288. I'm down to 235 right now, but I'm not really I'm not focusing on weight loss anymore right now. I'm in a recomp phase. I pretty much, I was, running and lifting 3 days a week. Like I was running 3 days a week, lifting 3 days a week. After I want to say about a week or two ago, because I'm on my second week of the new routine that I'm on. It's just lifting 6 days a week, and I'm walking after I eat dinner. For about 30 minutes. It's a good opportunity for me to hang out with my daughter. So I'll go and I'll take her for a walk in the evenings and stuff. But just doing total weight resistance training, trying to focus in the hypertrophy zone and really try to recomp the body. And dude, it's phenomenal. It's awesome.
I like it, man. I like it. You're looking good, and it's good to see you, broski. Welcome back. And this is going to be a good show. Zenith, broski, what's new and exciting with you, my friend? What's on your mind?
Not much for everybody that caught the Telegram Tuesday call. That was a really good show, and we had a lot of very technical information in there. But more importantly, I'm kind of like $1 poorer now. If you look closely, it says Jay was right. 11 November 2024. If you caught the Sunday show, he and I were arguing about the Bitcoin 60-day cycle, and guess what? Jay was right. So well done, sir. I tip the hat, and I earmark this for you at some point in the future.
That's good. You should use that dollar to buy Bitcoin, and then you could use that dollar's worth of Bitcoin to retire Jay 40 years from now or something like that. Jay, what's going on, bro? What's new and exciting with you?
Oh, man, same shit, different day. Working on the business. Today was a great day. Made a few sales actually just before we hopped on the stream over here. And we got on another call actually this Wednesday morning, fine Wednesday morning, with the group. That was a Telegram exclusive once again. So, if you want to get in on those calls, all you got to do is scan the damn QR code and jump in there. Because Bitcoin hit a new all-time high of about 93,000 and some change. And if you were in the Telegram chat yesterday, you know that I gave my analysis. I was like, look, I know the estimates on the rest of Q1, Q4, early Q1 is around $95,000, $115,000 for Bitcoin. But I was like, you know what? Man, there's more data that came in, and I'm going to revise my lower band target to about 93,000 and 93 to 95,000. And wouldn't you fucking know it, with 93,000 square on the fucking face? So, just another day at work. But that's what's new and exciting with me. The markets is exciting, and I'm excited because, geez, we waited 2 years through some pretty painful bear markets, pretty painful news in terms of like what's going on with the crypto market, a lot of uncertainty going on, and it's finally going to pay off here within the next year or so. So exciting times for everybody, not just myself.
I like it. And I can see, Agent Jay, that you're sipping some Canada Dry. That's we got the health aficionado sipping on carbonated beverages. I know it's probably a diet Canada Dry, isn't it?
Yep. Yes, sir. I don't drink my calories, man.
There we go. Excellent. I like it. Well, I do drink my calories. I happen to be drinking a Miller, what is this? Miller Extra Light. It was what was up here at the local grocery store up in, where am I? Up in New Hampshire. And it's freaking awesome. Zenith, what are you sipping on over there? And Josh, are you sipping on anything?
I am double fisting. We have a classic Silver Bullet, and then I have a nice Yellowstone Kentucky bourbon. So this stuff's actually pretty banging. A friend of mine got it for me. So
that is a nice looking bottle.
Josh, what about you, broski?
Good label.
I'm working on zero sugar Gatorade right now, man.
Man, I'm just the degenerate over here, huh?
Yeah, I'm going to New York City for the UFC fight this weekend. It's going to be a blast.
Whoa!
And,
you're going for John Bones Jones?
That's right. Yeah. So
let's go.
That fight. I'm leaving Friday, so I wanted to hydrate before I dehydrate. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
bro,
it's going to be a good time.
I don't think I've ever told you guys this story about John Bones. So I was there for John Bones' UFC debut. It wasn't his UFC debut, but it was his first championship fight, the one that he had versus Shogun, right?
Oh, Shogun Rua.
Yeah, Shogun Rua.
Yeah.
And it just came at the tail end of Shogun beating the fuck out of Lyoto Machida, and I was a big Lyoto Machida fan way back when. And my mom, when she was still working, she managed the Hilton Gateway over in Newark, where they had so right across the Hilton was the Prudential Center, which is where they had the basketball games, the hockey games, all of the big events. So she was handling that event, and she was handling John Bones' party, and so we went to this. It was around my birthday.
Wild
we went to this paella restaurant, right? And fucking John Bones' party was there. And my mom was like, yo, you wanna meet John Bones, right? He's gonna be in the championship fight. I was like, fuck John Bones. He's not gonna be Shogun, because if Shogun beat Lyoto Machida, and I thought Lyoto Machida was like one of the great, well, he is, but like at the time, I was like, look, if Shogun beat one of the most undefeated, unbeatable guys in UFC, I don't think this guy has a chance. And then John Bones obviously won that fight against Shogun and went on to become arguably the best UFC fighter of all time, right? Like just looking at statistics. So that's my John Bones story.
That's true. That's true. Tell you what, can we get a screen share real quick?
Yeah. Let's do it, Mrs. Producer, if you don't mind, pull it up. And
All
then
right, speaking of which, we got Sherdog.com, one of my favorites. But UFC 309 going down this weekend. We got John Jones versus Stipe Miocic. Stipe's last fight, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. He lost to Francis Ngannou, who actually got knocked out. It was a good fight. Rough loss though. And then as we go further down the card, there's some interesting things here. Obviously, I like Bo Nickel. I like Paul Craig. I think they're good fighters. But this fight right here, Charles Oliveira and Michael Chandler, you might notice
I'm
that,
so excited for that. I'm so excited for that one, but go ahead.
they've already fought. Like, we literally had this exact same matchup back in 2021. This was for the belt after Khabib vacated. So Michael Chandler comes into the UFC, beats Dan Hooker, R.I.P. I love the Hangman, but unfortunately, Dan Hooker will never be better than like number 5 in the rankings, and it's unfortunate because I love the guy. But yeah, Michael Chandler comes to the UFC, beats Dan Hooker, immediate title fight with Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira gets knocked down in the first round and then submits Michael Chandler in the second round real quick. And then that's when we get the infamous reign of Michael Chandler, where everyone was coping and seething either way, because if you like Charles Oliveira, you were really pissed when he got stripped because he missed weight. And then if you don't like Charles Oliveira because you think he's boring, you thought he was a menace because he kept beating all your favorite fighters and then losing to absolute nobodies. And it was like, what the heck is going on? But yeah, I don't know. This is a good card. I like it.
Who's a great card, man?
Yeah, we even got Chris Weidman. We got Chris Weidman to finish out the prelims, so should be good stuff. And then let's go take a look at this real quick. We got DraftKings Sportsbook. All right, John Jones money line -625. Stipe Miocic +455. Yeah, that is that's quite lopsided, as we say. And then Charles Oliveira, Michael Chandler. Charles is the favorite, -245 to +200. True. Ooh, this fight looks really one-sided. We got Bo Nickel and Paul Craig. We got Bo Nickel at -1100. Jeez. Wild stuff, man. All right, I'm boring all you guys with this stuff, but I love this. I legitimately do another terrible podcast with one of my buddies where we do Fantasy Fight League, and we get $1,000 of play money, and then we have to construct a bet slip. So I'm excited for this one. I think it's going to be fun to see John Jones back in the octagon, although I have a feeling this is the last time we'll ever see John Jones. He's not fighting for another title fight. He's not fighting Tom Aspinall. He's not fighting Alex Pereira. It's just not happening.
Huh. Okie dokie.
Sorry, did I nerd out too hard on everybody?
Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about. These sound like wonderful gentlemen with wonderful fists. And I actually, my only thing to contribute to this conversation is I saw a Muay Thai fight earlier today where one of the dudes did not have he didn't have a right arm. It was nubbed off right here, and he wasn't wearing a glove on his nub. And so he was just like pummeling the dude's like the side of his face with his little nub.
Dude, Homie still got the elbow. He's good to go.
Yeah. Well, no, he was hitting him with the humerus or no, not the humerus. This is the humerus, with whatever tibia or fibia bones were like nubbed over right here. He was just like straight bone to the face, like hooking this guy, and it was awesome. Dude was destroyed by the end of the fight.
Your tib and your fib are on your leg.
Whoa,
oh, they are. Which one are these? Radius and ulna?
Radius, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Radius.
Okay, all right. I get those confused more often than I'm proud to admit. Thank you for the correction, though. That is a good. I'm not a doctor, folks. I've never claimed to be a doctor. Thank goodness we've got Agent J around to fix me. And speaking about people,
medic?
Huh?
You ever claim to be a medic?
No, dude, I would love to be a corpsman though. Like if I could do anything different regarding my military career, I would probably go back and be a corpsman just so that way I could be called Doc from time to time. I think that'd be pretty cool. Shout out to all my corpsmen out there. I know that Dr. H used to be or maybe he was a combat engineer. Somebody was
an engineer.
Okay, maybe it was Gary Woods. I think Gary Woods might have been an army medic or something like that. But I know some of the guys.
Gary Woods was actually a naval dive officer.
Oh, he was?
Yeah, he's a cool dude.
Yeah.
Like they're awesome. Far and few between.
Good for him. Well, shout out to all my corpsmen and all my docs out there. We fucking love you guys. You stitch us back together when the Marines eat too many crayons and too many rocks, then we like to get put back together and everything. But speaking of getting put back together, we've got some chats that we got to put together from the audience. It's time for motherfucking chat. Shout outs, ladies and germs. where we recognize the audience for all of their wonderful, wonderful participation and things of that nature. Holy smokes, we've got a lot of chat shoutouts. Mrs. Producer, let's go ahead and pull them up. Starting off with our very first chat shout out, none other than Mr. Kenturian54X. What's up, DGens? What's up to you too, sir? It is good to see you. Welcome to the stream. And we are glad to have you, Kenturian. This is excellent and outstanding. Next up, we've got Moonpilled Rational Optics. Grab a glass and hold on because it's starting to get crazy. Yeah, we went from fucking, what was it, like 75,000 to 93. We're at what, 93,000 is the last like break thing. Like we've done almost 18K.
It has not been a week yet. It has not even been a week.
That's fucking ridiculous, man. Fucking ridiculous. So like, what a great time to be alive. Bitcoin's moving. The grandpa money's going all around everybody. Shout out to Moonpilled Rational Optics. Definitely grab a glass and definitely hold on. This shit is going to get crazy. Next up, we've got Hexagon Lost in Asia. It is almost fist pumping time. I absolutely agree. It is almost fist pumping time because we've got to pump it up. Don't you know? Next up, we've got Fox Mulder with a thumbs up. He ain't quite at the fist pumping zone yet, but he's got the thumbs up. Fox Mulder, it's good to see you, broski. Welcome to the chats. Next up, we got Mina giving us some excellent feedback. Hello, can we please don't burp today? Thanks. You know what, Mina? That's some good fucking feedback. Thank you for that. I'll do my best not to burp, and I'm sure the other panelists will do that as well. This is awesome. I can't believe we've got that. That's freaking great. Thank you, Mina. I appreciate that. After that, we've got Tin Top. I literally laugh out loud every time someone says government efficiency. What an oxymoron. I'll cross my fingers, but I won't hold my breath. You're absolutely right, dude. I am so stoked to see what Elon can do. And also Vivek Ramaswamy has been appointed to that as well. So shout out to those two gentlemen. I am super stoked, and I would love to see Elon Musk bring in a kitchen sink over to Washington, D.C.
Do it
That
again.
would be
Do it again.
absolute crazy. Man, next up, speaking of Elon, we've got Paul Sachs saying, chill, Habibi, Elon, chill. Absolutely right. Dude, Elon's going ham with this. It's going to be so much fun. Never mind. We are no longer echoing. Next up in chat shoutouts, we've got Tam Tam. So proud of you guys. Thank you, Tam. We appreciate it. Shout out to the #1 Pulse Chain and cryptocurrency cheerleader, none other than Tam Tam. Good to see you, Tam. Welcome to the chats. After that, we've got Joe. I should have invested in Bitcoin and Doge instead of Ethereum and Pulse. Oh, I'm so demoralized. Broski, don't worry about it.
Just
you
wait.
are, yeah, just like
Will,
your time will
when we
shine.
get over the stuff that we're going to go over on your doc, we definitely got to circle back to this question because you're not late, Joe. You're not late.
We're gonna actually start there, Jay. That's what we're gonna start with, my amigos. We're gonna talk about that one because this is Whiskey Wednesday AMA. I was just reading off headlines because that's a fun thing to do. That's my little campfire story time, bro. I've collected so many headlines. It's crazy. It is absolutely crazy. But yes, we're gonna talk about that first. So don't you worry, Joe. We're coming back to you. After that, though, we've got Crypto Sloth saying, yo, what's up, Crypto Sloth? Good to see you, amigo. The #1 crypto dentist, I believe. I don't know if we have any other dentists in the Hex space, but we've got Tam Tam, who's a dental hygienist or dental tech or something. So shout out to Tam Tam and Crypto Sloth for fixing everyone's teeth out there over at Hexco. We absolutely love to see it.
Before we move off Sloth too far, he's actually been doing a lot of work IRL out there. He's actually been doing onboarding programs in real life, getting people on, and he actually just launched a new school server with a completely free intro to crypto course. So if you are trying to point somebody in the direction of just like, here's a condensed thing that is going to get you from not like 0 to hero, but at least get you 0 to 60. I haven't looked at it yet, but we know Sloth. We know he's good people. He's good information, so that's got to be a good resource. Check it out. He's got the school server.
I think that I think that it's Crypto Treehouse. I'm pretty sure it's Crypto Treehouse. But yeah, go check out Crypto Sloth's channel. The course is being built, but you can join the group early. Excellent. Good to hear, Mr. Sloth. Good to hear. So that is super awesome. Y'all can go ahead and hop on in there. Sloth, if you wouldn't mind DMing me on Telegram the link to do so, and I will post it up in the chat. I would appreciate that, good sir. And I'm sure you would appreciate it, and the folks at home would appreciate it. That's what I've got on that. Oh my. Next, okay, let's get back to chat shoutouts. All right, who do we got next? Mrs. Producer, I think it's Clintrons. Yeah, we got Clintrons next. G'day, D-Gens. G'day to you too, sir. Good to see you. Oh man, what's another Australian word? No. I can't remember how they say no down there. I know it's funny though, but good to see you, Clintrons. Good day to you too, sir. And I hope that everyone down there in the land where they hang upside down from trees is just doing awesome. I love my Aussie friends. And then after that, we've got Johnny Chaos. Will, your deficiency in anatomical knowledge is disturbing. I agree, Johnny Chaos. I agree. You guys should not trust me with a surgical implement or with an X-ray. Like, I can stop the bleeding. I can apply pressure. I know how to, like cauterize a wound and treat for shock. But when it comes to identifying bones and important things, like, keep me away from the body. I'm good for trauma, and that's like, oh man, this freaking thing keeps popping off. I'm good for trauma, and that's it. So you're absolutely right, Johnny Chaos. My knowledge of the human anatomy is grossly inadequate. I should probably get one of those practice skeletons that doctors have inside their offices. But super good to see you, Johnny Chaos. Welcome to the stream. I'm glad that you were able to join us today. Crypto Sloth, as far as throwing the links in here, I think you have to be a moderator in order to do that. I'm checking my I've got it in my DM, so I am copying it right now, bringing it on over, and then do the old control paste in there. So you guys will see here in about 7 seconds, or actually you'll have seen this link 7 seconds before I've sent it, but I've gone ahead and dropped it in the live chats right over here, school.com/cryptosloth/about. And that's how you get inside of his super cool community. I freaking love to see it. All right. And Johnny Chaos is just being funny. I'm sure you are, amigo, but I am totally confident that I do not know the bone structures very well at all. This is absolutely crazy. Okay. And I do believe that I think that covers all of chat shoutouts.
You missed one. You missed one important one from Tin Top. He
I
said
missed
Tyson or Paul. We got the Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul fight on Friday as well. This is a big fight weekend.
Wow, what a difficult question. Of course Tyson. Who
What do you mean? Like back that up. Like, explain it.
I don't know who's rooting for Jake Paul. Jake Paul is the heel.
No. It's not. Who do you want? Okay, who do you want to win? Who do you think is going to win?
Probably Tyson.
Why?
Because there's a history, and he's very strong.
Do you know how old Mike Tyson is?
Yeah. I'm very well aware.
Dude, he's like.
And I also
60.
know how young Jake Paul is. Like, you could see the fear in his eyes when they were sitting down in front of each other. His body language was off the fucking charts, is in non-confidence I think it was a face-to-face podcast, I believe it was, when Jake Paul and fucking Tyson were sitting there looking at each other and talking, and Tyson's just sitting there confident and sitting tall like a lion and just yeah, I'm gonna crush you. I don't know. And Jake Paul kept looking down and kept fidgeting all over the place and being yeah, I think I'm gonna beat you or something, blah de da da da. Jake Paul doesn't have the killer instinct that Tyson had in his heyday. And while Tyson might be old, I think that Tyson's got a track record. Tyson's got a very dangerous sleeper fist. And I also don't know a whole lot about boxing, and I want Tyson to win. So my opinion is going to be very colored in that respect. What about you, Josh? What about you, Jay? I think we know Zenith. I think Zenith is going after the blonde Zoomer for the winner.
I have thoughts. I
think I would love to see Tyson win, but I think Paul is going to take it. He's the young guy. He's, I think Tyson's age is probably going to catch up with him. I will say, if anybody has the ability to win that sort of fight, it would be Mike Tyson, but I don't know. There's a difference between training and actually fighting. And I mean, we'll see how much training he put in, because if he's able to beat Paul, then that would be phenomenal. But I think Paul's got it in the bag. I think it'll be a good fight. I don't think it's going to be a boring fight or anything like that, but I think Tyson's age is going to catch up with him.
That is entirely possible. I will not leave that up to the river. Jay, do you have a thought in this fight?
I agree with Josh. If it was my heart says Tyson, but if I'm going off the technicals, It's not like Paul is fighting at a significant disadvantage in terms of weight class, in terms of reach. It's look, the people he's fought, they're not exactly like all stars when it comes to the boxing world, but Jake Paul is not a scrub when it comes to boxing, right? He's actually taking it seriously, so you have to give him that. So just on the technicals alone, right? On the youth, like I don't see the odds significantly against Jake Paul. Now, like Josh said, if there's anybody that can pull this off, it's probably going to be Mike Tyson, because Mike Tyson has the technical acumen, he has the aggressiveness, and for fuck's sake, even as somebody as old as him, he still hits like a goddamn truck, right? Tyson is not one of these scrubs that like great value YouTubers that Jake Paul has chosen to fight against over the course of his boxing career. This is Mike Tyson, right? So he better not get cocky, because Tyson will knock him the fuck out.
Jay, I think you said something good there that not a lot of people realize is how much effort Jake Paul puts into his training. Like people sleep on him, but he is like, I mean, you talk to Rogan, I mean, you listen to Rogan, Rogan's like, yo, he's the real deal. Like you listen to other fighters and stuff like that, and they're like, look, everybody may think this dude is a joke, but he takes it seriously. Yeah. Is the spotlight something that might get to him? I don't know, because he was a kid celebrity. You know what I'm saying? So he's used to that sort of spotlight. But in the fighting world, I don't know. Like I said, I think it's going to be a good fight. I think Tyson's age and Jake Paul's focus, I think those are going to be the two things that puts it over the edge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why people sleep on him, right? Because he's a YouTuber. He's a clown, essentially, right? He tries to be the funny guy. So that's why people like he rubs people the wrong way sometimes. But again, it's like you put your feelings to the side. How does he take the sport of boxing? Does he take it seriously, or does he treat it like a joke? And by all measures, he seems to take it pretty fucking seriously.
Z's itching to get a word in here. Hit it, Z.
No, I just want to make sure that we got it all out before I just like go full nerd on this one. So I want to look at
after you go full nerd. After you go full nerd, I'm going to continue on with chat shoutouts. So go ahead. And then, guys, if you have thoughts, then we'll get to it after chat shoutouts. But go ahead, Z.
All right. First and foremost, Jake Paul has single-handedly revived boxing. Boxing has been in a slump for a long time. The 12-round format has been not very entertaining for the audience. They're going to 8 rounds for this fight, like all the other runs. And then if we look at Jake Paul's career, he has built himself on people tuning in to watch him try to get knocked out. People want to watch Jake Paul get knocked out, but the truth of the matter is, like some of the guys in comments are saying, Jake Paul legitimately is working hard at this. And people write him off because of like the YouTuber Disney Channel past and whatever. But at the same time, the guy's 10-1. Granted, we'll go through the record real quick and look at what those 10s and the 1s is, but we'll take a quick look. I think, unfortunately, he has built a career out of knocking out retired, past their prime UFC fighters, which is something. But at the same time, he has fought one legit boxer in Tommy Fury, and that is his one notable loss. And it actually went the distance, didn't get knocked out, but he lost that one. Shoot, where's it at? 76, 73. So remember, 8-round fights, that's pretty much like, yeah, he had one 10-8 round, maybe another 9-point round, but other than that, ended up losing a lot of it. Let's see, he's fought Ben Askren, knocked out Ben Askren, fought Tyron Woodley, knocked out Tyron Woodley, fought Anderson Silva, won on the scorecards, fought Tommy Fury, lost on the scorecards, fought Nick Diaz, Nick or Nate? I'm pretty sure it's Nate Diaz, actually. Yep. And then we have his most recent fight is Mike Perry, who is former UFC fighter and current bare knuckle fighting champion right now. Mike Perry's no joke when it comes to the... Mike Perry might be the best analogy outside of the Tommy Fury fight, because Mike Perry is actually in a predominantly boxing sport. Granted, it's bare knuckle and there's a different dynamic with it, which is that those guys are very much just quick, fast damage accumulating to a knockout, as opposed to trying to go score points over the distance, which is something that we've seen Jake Paul do in the past. But I gotta be honest, I think Mike Tyson leans more towards the Tommy Fury end of the spectrum than the Mike Perry end of the spectrum, which is that I've been seeing some of the footage from the Mike Tyson training camp. The guy looks sharp. He looks fast. That's the thing. He still has the technique. He just has it's muscle memory for him at this point. Like on top of Mike Tyson just having that dog in him, Mike Tyson also looks technically proficient, good, but most importantly, quick. The fast twitch muscle fibers, they're still there, baby. So, personally, I got Mike Tyson. I think this is going to be the bridge too far for Jake Paul, but I like it. I think it's going to be fun to watch. And I mean, with Mike Tyson, all it takes is one. You just push him in the corner once, and he's probably going down. So, just saying.
Jay, do you have a thought before I go into the chat shoutouts? You look like you're itching for something, or am I just reading your body language?
No, I agree with Z. I think it, like Josh and Z echoed it, right? If there's anybody who could do this, it's gonna be Mike Tyson. There is one comment in there that I like, right? They said that, I think it was Hexagon Lost in Asia, you're gonna have to go to distance with Mike and like outbox him, right? Because you're gonna have to exhaust him, right? Like Jake Paul can outbox him and win on the scorecard, right? But he has to think like an outboxer. He can't trade blows with Mike Tyson. If you get trapped in a corner with Mike, you're dead.
Yeah.
You have to be an outboxer with Mike Tyson.
Okie dokie. Well, that's a good point. Since we're bringing up the chat shoutouts, it's time to shout out some of the other folks that have joined us. Let's see, Mrs. Producer, who have we got? Oh, speaking of fighting and things, we've got Pulse Jitsu with Fast Abdul. Is this the line for free hot dogs? So this is not the line for free hot dogs, but this is the line for free Whiskey Wednesdays. By the way, for the folks at home, if you guys have never heard of Whiskey Wednesday before, at the top of the hour, right now we're at the bottom of the hour, but in the next 30 minutes, we're going to be dropping the StreamYard links for y'all to hop on into the stream and join us. We're going to chit chat about some cool things up until that point. Just the four of us, ducks and chickens over here. But until then, you've got the chat shout outs and you've got whatever your thoughts are on the topic of conversation currently. So Mr. Fast Abdul, it is not the hot dog line, but thank you for coming and hanging out with us on this here Whiskey Wednesday. Next up in chat shout outs, we've got Bright Light Crypto. Mike trains harder, money on him. So this is
Mike has been getting after it. The dude has had like 6-hour gym sessions pretty regularly now, and just mentally, he's there. Like he's locked in.
Yep. Mike is something else. They don't make a lot of people like they make Mike. There was a very special circumstance that brought Mike to be who he is, and for better for worse, like I don't personally see Jake Paul surviving on the streets of Brooklyn or the streets of the Bronx, wherever Mike grew up at. I can't remember. I don't entirely recall. I know that Mike had some tough times. Maybe it was Queens. I don't know. As I recall, it was somewhere in New York. He was doing gangster stuff, like when he was like 13 years old, just like beating up fully grown humans and things. But anyways, like I would also put my money on Mr. Bright Light Crypto. Thanks for joining us, amigo. For those of you that don't know, Bright Light Crypto runs a TA and an analysis channel. You also go check him out. I believe he streams on Wednesday after we're finished with Whiskey Wednesday. I want to say 10 p.m. Eastern is when he starts. It might be 10:30 or 11, but something like that. So shout out to you, Bright Light. Good to see you. Next up in chat shout outs, we've got Large saying, cheers, D-Gens. Cheers to you too, good sir. Glad to see you in the chats with us as well. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome the blood-stained stormtrooper, Mr. Large. Love to see you, broski. And then we've got Crypto Ewok, not to mention Tyson is just a crazy motherfucker. Yeah. Yes, that is absolutely true. Like, you put Ozzy Osbourne and Mike Tyson in the same room, I don't know who's going to be eating more bats. I could say Mike Tyson's eaten more ears than Ozzy Osbourne has, but Ozzy's eaten more bats than Mike. So who the hell knows? But I could definitely see some craziness going on there. So that, I believe, finally wraps up the chat shout outs and things.
There's a clip of Mike Tyson recently. He went on a podcast talking about Trump, right? And he was like, I voted for Trump. And the guy was like, well, you're entitled to vote for Trump. I'm going to disagree with you. And then Mike Tyson is like, yeah, sure. What are you going to do about it? Just shut him the fuck up, bro. It's like, yeah, man, I'm going to vote for Trump. What are you going to do about it? So it's like Mike Tyson at 60 years old, he still hasn't lost his edge, man. And that guy's a scary motherfucker. Like he hasn't gone soft. He hasn't lost his, like he might have a little bit, right? Obviously with age, you're going to lose some kind of like reaction time, reflexing, like your force capability is going to be going down, but it's still Mike Tyson, bro. And he hasn't lost his edge. That's the point.
He's got it.
Right? It's not like Anderson Silva fighting, re-entering the UFC after he snapped his fucking leg, right? Like it's not that case.
Dude, Mrs. Producer, would you mind pulling up Johnny Chaos's most recent comment as well? Let's see. It is 1 second of hesitation or showboating, and Jake takes a nap. You're absolutely right. And then Bright Light Crypto after that, Mrs. Producer, he's talking about Polymarket. Polymarket says 63% Jake Paul, 29% Mike Tyson, 11% draw. These are some interesting stats, and I actually want to pivot off of the boxing conversation into the poly market conversation. I don't know if you guys heard this, but something recently that happened regarding poly market. Let me see if I can pull up the chat thing for it. But poly market, the dude who runs it, I'm pretty sure he got raided by the feds for like they wanted to see if he was doing election interference or whatever the hell. Let me see. Have you guys heard about this?
The raid, sir, no, but there has been a lot of talk going around about election interference by participants within the poly market system. Right now, whether that's true or not, obviously yet to be determined. But surprised that he's raided, I'm not.
Yeah, it is one of those unfortunate things. I'm trying to find the man. I just had it a little bit ago because this stuff like. Oh man, nope. MicroStrategy, FTX. Oh, here it is. So this is actually from Mario Newfall. Mario Newfall, for the guys that don't know, he's on Twitter at Mario Newfall. But FBI seizes Polymarket CEO's electronics after Trump election prediction. So the FBI seized Polymarket CEO Shane Copland's phone and electronics at his Soho home early Wednesday, just a week after Polymarket accurately predicted Trump's election win. Sources close to Copland called it political retribution, alleging the raid is aimed at punishing Polymarket for outperforming traditional polls. The government reportedly suspects market manipulation favoring Trump. And Polymarket, what's funny is that like Polymarket's a fucking blockchain. Like it is a smart contract. It is a bunch of people basically gambling on the internet. So it's like it's no different than like the sports betting stuff. It's no different than oh shoot, what are those other ones? I'm drawing a blank here. But this is on a blockchain, guys. This is like
it's
literally
like the I think another one's like predict.it.
Yeah. It's like
another
people,
market. But the point
gambling.
is that when you're saying that these things are market manipulation, it's kind of actually an oxymoron.
Yeah.
Because the whole thing is people making a market by them putting up their own money to back what they think is going to happen. AKA, it's a market of public consensus. Therefore, you can't really manipulate the numbers. And if you do, well, then you're just messing with betting, which I'm sure the Gambling Commission would love to have a word with you at that point. But assuming that none of that is happening, trying to say that this is market manipulation is trying to say that people coming together to make predictions is market manipulation. It's literally just it's an aggregate of people speculating and then putting a dollar amount behind it and willing to play the game and ride it out and see what happens.
Like anybody in Vegas getting rated, Z?
I've not heard any of that. I have not heard any of that. Shocker.
I guarantee you the Vegas odds were overwhelmingly for Trump too. So
Bingo,
who's getting rated there, bro?
I will say there were this election cycle. There was definitely a question about who was correct because there was a vast difference between the pollsters and all of the betting markets. And one of the working theories was that the betting markets were really trying to predict heavily for Trump because there were certain whales that were just trying to put money to move the money line, so to speak, as opposed to pollsters who were actually calling people. But then again, the pollsters have got it wrong, very, very wrong for like the last 3 election cycles at this point. There's like 1 or 2 people that can kind of get close, but outside of that, they all just don't poll people very correctly. Partly because I think Donald Trump is a unique animal, and the Donald Trump voter is not someone who likes to pick up the phone and talk with pollsters per se, which means that your data is going to be skewed. So it's the question of, are you accounting for skewed data, or are you just letting betting markets be manipulated by whales? You got to figure it out.
Yeah. Josh, do you have any thoughts on Polymarket? Have you ever used anything over on Polygon? Are you familiar with any of these?
No, I don't. All I know is sort of the general consensus. It's a betting site, correct?
Yeah. It's people, so what happens is you buy an outcome for less than $1, and then whoever like wins gets the dollar. So like as we were approaching the election cycle, Trump's number got closer and closer to like 90 cents, 93 cents, 95 cents, and Kamala's was like down at like 1 cent. Or I don't think it's you get $1. It's probably like you get $1.50 because they got to make their fees or whatever. They got to get their bit off the top. But it's like the results were quite funny. So that's how the system works, to my knowledge. But it's essentially just gambling on the blockchain using this third party API or something like that. And I think it's
Yeah.
funny that the FBI raided them, but totally predictable that somebody somewhere in charge of some people would send them after some folks who have information that is less than flattering. So that was my thoughts on that. And let's tie up the conversation on the poly market. The other thing that I had mentioned earlier on in the show is that the Democrats are talking about, like, man, we need to send every dollar over to Ukraine as quick as possible before Trump gets into office. What are you guys' thoughts on that? Do you have any thoughts? Is this surprising to you after the whole debacle with FTX and the money laundering and all that stuff?
It's not happening. It's a nothing burger.
Oh yeah.
They don't have time, right? They're like, that's gonna have to get approved by Congress, and I'm not sure if it's gonna have to go through the Senate as well. But they're not gonna have time, man. They don't have time. They don't have time. There's a reason why before the recess happened, everybody was making the rounds talking about, look, if we're going to get something accomplished, it has to happen prior to elections, right? Because the focus of everybody right now, both Congress, the Senate, and the White House, is the transition.
Correct. We are in
Okay.
the lame duck governance, if you will,
Yep.
which is that elections have happened. People are scheduled to come in, but they don't have power yet, which means that the people on the way out want to try to do as much as they possibly can at the last minute. However, at the same time, there's an understanding and a perception that, like, once you've kind of been voted out of office, it's very, very shady and scummy to do things. I mean, granted, there still are those classic presidential pardons that come in at 11:59 p.m. the night before inauguration, but that's a different story. When it comes to Congress, though, it's like the entire Congress has to work together. There are certain thresholds that have to be met. So right now, we are at a bit of a lame duck Congress because previously the Democrats held the congressional House. As it looks right now, when it comes to the results of the elections, at least the preliminary results, is that the Republican Party is going to be taking the House by, I think it's like maybe 15 seats, so to speak, 10 to 15. And then I want to say that the Senate is looking at either 53 or 54 seats majority for the Republican Party. So again, none of that's like fully confirmed yet because some of the elections, like the ones in California, still are going to take time to process and actually count everything. But for the most part, the results are in, so not a whole lot's going on. It's kind of like anybody who's ever had a corporate job, or sorry, a government job, or a job that deals with the government. The months of November and December are pretty much a wash because everyone's waiting for Thanksgiving and then everyone's waiting for Christmas and New Year's, and nothing ever gets done. So you can kind of just pretty much earmark it that not much is going to happen until mid-January. Call it cynical, but it is what it is.
Josh, do you have thoughts?
I really don't know. I mean, I agree with what Z and with what Jay said. I just haven't really put much thought into it. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, I saw it as a juicy button headline, and I thought that was fun and interesting that this take would be broadcast at this point during this lame duck session, and everything is amusing. But like on the subject of nothing happening in the government, we've also got Elon Musk launching the Department of Government Efficiency. This is going to be quite interesting. I don't know if you guys saw this, but he had posted on Twitter earlier that he's going to be putting up everything that they're doing. Like he's going to be 100% transparent. And he's also going to be posting some of the stuff on like public forums of like, hey, this is what your taxpayer dollars are funding. And he's going to start making a whole bunch of silly things public. Do you guys have thoughts on that?
Yes, I do. I would love to see Brandon Herrera become the new director of the ATF. Currently, Robert Kennedy Jr. has his Kennedy Maha website that also has a forum for people to nominate people for certain positions of the government. This is like the first time we're actually seeing crowdsourcing for nominations.
Ooh,
so, I mean, look, if you want to see the AK guy, it might be. We gotta reach out to Chuck. By the way,
Yeah.
Nuclear Herbs, our classic pulse chain lawyer, he is actually applying to be the ambassador to Finland, and I, for one, think this is not even a joke. I legitimately think he is a good person to do so. I think he has a good degree of foreign relations and a decorated history and past, and I would be honored to have him serve as our ambassador. I think he's good people, and I think he's capable of doing good work. So I would wholeheartedly support him.
I've shaken his hand. I've read his tweets.
He's
I agree.
got my vote, man. Especially for Finland. I
Hell
mean,
yeah, dude.
who else would you put in that position? The
Good
nuclear
luck,
herbs, man.
yeah. This
There
could
you
be
go.
Before I
Wow.
comment on this, Josh, I want to get your thoughts because you are the special guest of the evening. So I want to get your
Sure.
thoughts on Doge and what do you think they can accomplish if they can accomplish it?
You're talking about like with the government accountability, the government efficiency, right? Not the meme coin.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Because I do see Doge pumping because of that and all. I could see that absolutely pumping Doge, but I don't know. I think it's going to be easier, especially because the Republicans now control the Senate and the House. Something that you have to keep in mind is, if Trump pulls too many either House or Senate representatives, elected officials into his cabinet, they may simply lose the majority. So hopefully he's not doing that. That's sort of a concern. Charlie Kirk was talking about that on PBD a couple days ago. But as far as the government efficiency program, I think having Vivek on that team is absolutely incredible. I wish Vivek was sort of in a different position, but I think that he is more than capable of spearheading that with Elon. And I think that if there's a time to do it, then they need to get cracking now because midterms is only 2 years away. So I think that they need to identify the biggest sort of hurdles that they need to accomplish and try to get those knocked out, because it's only going to get more difficult if 2 years from now, either the House or the Senate flips Democrat or something like that. But ultimately, I see it being good. Now, will it happen or not? It depends on how many roadblocks are put in front of it. I know that there's going to be a lot of kickback from the establishment, and there's just going to be such headwinds that they're going to have to deal with. But I hope that they can. I know that's a long way of me just saying I don't know. We'll see what happens at the end of the day. But I think that if it's something, if they can truly become effective, then it would be amazing. And I think that now is the time to do it, and they can't come out of the gate slow. They have to come out of the gate strong.
I do agree with you in a sense that they have to work quickly because, like you mentioned, they technically only have 18 months to get things done, right? Until midterms again. However, I think if the Republicans play their cards correctly and they get enough things done within the 18 months that they really solidify this position as, look, 18 months and we've got X, Y, and Z accomplished and you're in a better spot now than you were 2 years ago, then I think they have a significant opportunity there to retain the House and the Senate once again for a clean sweep throughout the entire 4 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a possibility there. Now, in terms of the department itself, I think the true test will be when the Congress, when Congress proposes to increase deficit spending again. That's the part where I'm interested in seeing what they do, because that'll be the litmus test, right? Do you put a stop to the deficit spending when they decide to increase the ceiling again? Do you say that's a hard line that you will not cross, not while we're here? So that's my litmus test.
I think we're at a very interesting point in time, which is that this was a bit an unprecedented election because Donald Trump won not only the Electoral College, but also it appears that he's won the popular vote.
5 million.
Which means that theoretically he has the backing of the American people to do whatever the plan is that he laid out. On top of that, if we're talking about the Department of Government Efficiency, and we're looking specifically at the man who's heading it, which is it's a dual head because we got Elon Musk and we got Vivek Ramaswamy. Elon Musk is the person that went into Twitter and fired legitimately 80% of their workforce.
Yep.
And now Twitter is doing better than ever, in my personal opinion. And I think by the numbers, it looks like it's doing just as much. On top of that, Vivek Ramaswamy is a person who's come out publicly and said that he agrees with that style of tactic and thinks that it could go possibly even farther. The only pushback that you're going to get, well, one of the main pushbacks, how about this, is the idea that there are certain politically protected elements of government management, which is that there are certain people inside of government that are not supposed to be appointed by the president, but are those sort of like middle managers. And that's the question where you really got to figure out, how do I deal with this bureaucracy that has really bloated over the last 100 years? The story of the 20th century is really the story of government expansion and the governments expanding to fight each other. I think that this is a bit of a spoiler. We're covering The Sovereign Individual for book club, not this week, but next week. One of the things that book posits, actually, is that in the Cold War, there was the idea of how are we having capitalism versus socialism? Really what it was the idea of two different forms of government utilization and government spending, which is that socialism went very heavy-handed for government spending, government expenditures, everything is top-down control, versus the capitalist approach was the idea of free markets and then siphoning off a little bit of it through taxes and governmental spending in order to fund the war machine. So obviously, one of the economies was much larger, aka the capitalist, but at the same time, only a small portion of that economy could theoretically be used for those things. So again, I think that we're really coming to a head or a turning point here, which is we're looking at what is the purpose and function of the American government in the average American's life, and how does that affect the world at large? I personally still do believe in American exceptionalism, and I think that the world with a unipolar force of the U.S. leading is a very good thing. At the same time, though, I can also look at the bureaucratic bloat that we've had through the American government, and I can say that it has been expansive. Additionally, there's kind of a bit of a great irony or a double-edged sword here, which is that you have heard me talking about the Chevron deference case getting overturned. I think that is one of the most influential cases to happen in my lifetime, frankly. The Roe v. Wade is very important for personal liberties and religious freedoms and that whole argument, but I do still believe Chevron has a much bigger impact. With that being said, there's a weird irony here, which is that theoretically Chevron getting overturned could work against the Trump administration. So if the whole point of the Department of Governmental Efficiency and the Trump administration is to kind of gut the bureaucracy and try to reapply the regulations and reinterpret them in more favorable ways, what Chevron does is it now allows people to sue federal regulatories, not on process or procedure, but on the actual interpretation of the law itself, which means that you can now sue over whether or not you believe a regulator is actually applying the law as it is supposed to be applied. Because in the past, remember, with Chevron deference, it was deference to regulatory and federal agencies as their interpretation of the law. That is now up in the air. So theoretically, if Donald Trump is doing this whole clearinghouse thing and trying to restaff a lot of folks, what that means is he's putting people in place to reinterpret regulations, definitions, whatever you want to say. And that is going to try to work favorably for them. But with Chevron, the door's now open to oppose it in the courts. Everything is in alignment. As a political theorist would say, the president is Donald Trump will be at the zenith of his governmental power, aka everything is in alignment. He has the Congress, the Senate, allegedly the Supreme Court, and he himself is in the presidency. Everything is in alignment top to bottom. The only thing that has now fallen out of alignment is lower level courts and their rulings. Unfortunately, as we've been seeing with the Richard Hart case in particular, courts do not move fast. But we still gave Donald Trump an 18-month window to do all that he wants to do because midterms are coming up. When the midterms come, there just is a trend, historical trend, which is that whoever is in power in the House and Congress is theoretically going to lose power. And instead of having this perfect alignment of president, Senate, House, you're going to get a split. And now you're going to see a lessening of the president's power because he's being checked by Congress. And that's where you get that. So the Department of Governmental Efficiency, I have very high hopes for it. I would love to see the people effectuate their will as they wish to see fit. I hope they implement Schedule F to get rid of a lot of employees that are unnecessary and the people that do the do-nothing jobs. And I hope that we get back to a very efficient, a very lean government that is able to carry out a mission And I think that we're seeing that not just in the Department of Government Efficiency, but the pick for the Secretary of Defense is also a very no-nonsense guy. I apologize. I want to say his name is Haggerty or something.
Bill?
Bill, it might be it. He's a combat veteran that went to Yale and Harvard.
Bill
And I know people are complaining that he didn't work for Raytheon or anything, but at the same time, like, the guy's a decorated veteran. He never made it to flag level, but he was a major, I believe. So he's an upper level officer who understands what's going on, and he's done many podcasts in the past talking about how if you are not looking at how to be a effective warfighter first, you're looking at it wrong. So I think we're getting a good spread of people all across the board that are very much, they see the fight for what it is, which is that this current administration is going to have a fight with the bureaucracy. And the ultimate victor is going to be the winner of those two things. It's either going to be the person in charge of the government, or it's going to be the mid-level managers that can hold out and slow the process and bog it down and just maintain the bureaucracy as it is, or as the many things have been called, whether it's the blob, the deep state, the bureaucracy, the Leviathan, the Citadel, just the swamp. It's that versus Donald Trump and the Justice League of people that he's brought in.
Bro, Johnny Chaos had an excellent comment, Mrs. Producer. If you would,
Johnny's going off in the chat. I see him over there. He's got some good stuff.
At 8:48 p.m. or excuse me, so for you it'd be 7:48. The dawn of government transparency is a wild concept. This is like, it is crazy that we find ourselves in this position. Like one would hope that government transparency is like kind of part of the whole gig. We give these people the ability to run our lives, and maybe not from the super far down like tactical decisions and everything, but like from the strategic and the campaign level, they're making a lot of decisions that influence how we live. And a lot of those decisions are up until oh shoot, who was it? There were two representatives that started voting for, I think it was Tulsi Gabbard and oh crap, I'm running a blank. But during like back in the House, bills used to just get passed. There would just be the Speaker of the House would say like, hey, all in favor, all opposed, all right, cool beans, this one passes. All in favor, all opposed, okay, cool beans, this one passes. Thomas Massey, that's who it was. Thomas Massey and Tulsi Gabbard. Shout out to those two.
Thomas Massey is a G.
Thomas Massey is a G. They were asking for all of for the names to be put to the record. So what that means is before a bill gets passed, every single congressperson, because what used to happen is just there would be a tally. There'd be a number, and it'd be like, okay, in favor has it, opposed has it, in favor has it, opposed has it, and there wouldn't be a record kept of anyone. And so Tulsi and Thomas and a couple other House members, they started basically taking turns in shifts, going to the physical House where the Speaker or the Speaker's stand-in was saying like, bill this, that, and the other thing, does it pass, does it fail, all in favor, all opposed, and they were saying, we would like to honorable Speaker, we would like to request that the names be put to record for this bill. And they started doing that for every single one. And Nancy Pelosi got pissed about it, because this is back in Trump's first presidency, or it was
well, it's not just that, it's the fact that I'm going to come back to everything operates off incentive structures. So if you can incentivize congressmen and senators to vote almost anonymously or kind of like under the radar, why would you not? Because what that means is you're not going to have your feet held to the fire.
Correct.
So I believe it was the Freedom Caucus, which is made of people like Thomas Massey. Yes. And what they did is they actually had somebody physically present whenever Congress was in session. They had someone physically present. So people had to physically show up to the floor to vote instead of just sending their lackeys or their temps or the interns or whatever to just go like sneak a ballot in or whatever and just kind of get under the radar. It's like, no. As long as someone is on the floor, it means that we have to have a quorum to do these things. Otherwise, we are going to have transparency, and transparency is a good thing. And unfortunately, government transparency has become an oxymoron, which is that a lot of what the government tries to do is obfuscate and classify and hide and just divert and distract. But I hope, this is Uncle Z talking here. I genuinely hope that we enter an era where the government is more accountable to the people and it gets hemmed in the powers are more enumerated and limited, and we kind of go back to a still powerful but a more limited government, which is that it has specific purposes. And that is an example of doing that, which is that you follow your procedure, you follow your policy, and you don't let people get away with things in the back room. You got to put it on the record so that the American people can see what goes on in their house.
I like it. Josh, I'm going to toss this over to you because I know that you've messaged us in the private chat that you have to hop off in the near future. I want to give you an opportunity to speak your piece and to talk about any of the things that we've been coming up, or any of the things that we've been discussing recently. Do you have any thoughts on the Freedom Caucus, on this stuff going on with the transparency? With you already spoke a little about the government efficiency, the Department of Government Efficiency and stuff. But I want to toss it to you before you have to hop off and things.
Yeah, I'm just excited to see how the cabinet plays out and to see how the cabinet starts rocking and rolling. Like the defense secretary is awesome. The attorney, like Matt Gaetz, is the attorney general.
Matt Gaetz is AG, baby. Let's go.
Like Matt Gaetz is the attorney general. Are you serious? Like, oh man, it's gonna be awesome to see. And wasn't it just announced that Tulsi has like the national director of national intelligence or something like that?
Yes.
Yep.
I think
Tulsi
so.
is director of intelligence.
Yeah. What a lineup. What a star quarterback.
I know.
Team. It's like the Avengers are assembling.
Masculine men and women.
It's going to be awesome to see how it plays out. If you guys haven't had a chance, the nominee for the Secretary of Defense, Pete, how do you pronounce his last name? The Fox News co-host. How do you pronounce it? It's Pete something. I can't remember how to pronounce his last name, but anyway, he did an episode on the Sean Ryan show about 2 to 3 weeks ago, talking specifically about the Veteran Affairs and the Department of Defense and where the military is. So if you want to kind of see a precursor of what you can expect, especially out of the Department of Defense, with all the it's something along those lines. But anyway, check out the Sean Ryan show. Find that episode. Yeah, Hegseth. Yeah, Pete Hegseth. He goes into some detail there. I think it's going to be awesome to see it play out. I hope he's competent enough for the job. I know he's deployed to Iraq, Afghanistan, and whoever the defense secretary is, that hits home for me. I'm prior military, obviously. So, I like to see that sort of thing. Happy belated Veterans Day, guys, by the way.
Happy belated Veterans Day.
Happy Veterans Day, boys.
But I know we gave shout outs on Twitter, but wanted to tell you guys in person. But
don't worry,
it's
Josh,
just going to be.
I posted an embarrassing picture of when I was a butter bar.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah. But no, it's going to be awesome to see how the cabinet plays out. It's going to be, it's 2016, I think, was a shock that he won. I feel like there's a different feeling in the air right now. Mm-hmm. I feel like, the mandate is there. Not only did he win the Electoral College, he won the popular vote. Republicans won the Senate, Republicans won the House. It's like there is a clear established mandate. Yep. Not only that, but Trump now has 4 years of experience to understand who needs to be in what position, what policies need to be in place. And it's going to be extremely interesting to see. What I can't wait for, I've become a huge JD Vance fan. So to see how he grows in his role as vice president and to see how he can sort of carry that torch moving forward, that is one of the things. If I was to put like a top 3, that would be one of the top 3, is to sort of see how JD Vance can continue and to see, how he implements himself in the Trump administration. Yeah. But yeah, that's really the only thoughts that I had. I'm going to be on here more often. I took an 8-9 month hiatus. If the team's cool with me coming back on and streaming more often and stuff like that, absolutely love to get back in the fold with everyone. And
always glad to have you, bro.
So,
hell yeah, bro.
Had to take a.
You got to take care of business.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
we love having you, but at the same time, we've been talking about this for a while, which is that who else comes back when we hit Bitcoin all-time highs? It's all the crypto thoughts and the scammers. So are you one of those? Or
no, Josh is starting his OnlyFans.
Where's that OnlyFans, boy?
Nah, I think it's a good time. Yeah,
Excellent.
it's been 7-8 months, and definitely been able to reprioritize, refocus, and stuff like. We'll talk offline about it though. We don't have to talk about it live here.
Sure.
But shout out to the audience. Audience is on fire, man.
Yeah.
It's been awesome to see the channel grow too. That's what's been cool. Like sitting in the background, watching streams and stuff like that. Catching up on stuff, seeing the new faces that you guys have had on, seeing the new personalities that have popped up in the audience too. It's awesome. It's really cool being able to see people pop in and stuff like that and establish, relationships and everything like that in the virtual sense. So it's really cool. But yeah, if you guys are cool with it, I'm gonna pop off. I said it in the private chat, but I've been in and out of DC every day for the last really 6 months. So I'll talk offline to you guys a little bit more about it. But yeah,
bro, driving in DC is a fucking nightmare. You guys should never do it. Josh, I am so sorry you had to put up with that. But where can the folks find you, and what have you got going on in the near future before you hop off?
Yeah, for sure. So you guys can find me. I'm in the Telegram, Chocolate Taints. I'm also on Instagram and Twitter at Chocolate Taints. That's where you guys can find me. I'm probably going to start up in my my Twitter posts coming up here. I have some charts and stuff like that I've been doing in the background that worked for me in the bear market. So I'm going to sort of apply the same principles in the bull market. But yeah, at Chocolate Taints, that's where you guys can find me. If you guys have any questions about anything, feel free to hit me up there. And just looking forward to getting back in the fold and riding this thing together, man.
Hell yeah, amigo.
Absolutely.
Well, it's been great having you on, Mr. Josh. You have yourself a wonderful, wonderful time getting some sleep and stuff. And remember to degen responsibly.
That's right. I'll see you guys later. You guys have a good one.
Peace, amigo. Good having you.
Always
Good
a
having
pleasure
you.
with that, man.
For the folks at home. Oh, sorry, Zenith. What was that?
Oh, I was just saying, it's great to have him on stream. Always love streaming with that guy. He's
yeah, he's a smart cookie. And man, you guys should stay out of DC. Like, don't ever go there. The traffic there is terrible. Every fucking time I drive I-95 north or south and I go through DC, it's just like, oh, I can expect to add another 2 hours to my trip because it's just nothing but like nut to butt traffic and no movement anywhere. Even if you take
New York,
the what was that, Zay
California,
or Jay?
DC, New York, Los Angeles,
Avoid those major cities if you guys can. Man, yo, Zenith, when we were in, I don't know if I told you this, but when we were in New York and I dropped you off after the Halloween parade.
Dude, that intersection we were in was the biggest clusterfuck I've ever seen in my life. It legitimately felt like a third world country with people just ignoring the stoplight and just trying to shove their car wherever they could. That was wild.
After you hopped out, because we realized that like your flat or wherever you were staying, your hostel or something was like a block away from where we were stuck. Like I kept missing the turns, and a lot of the streets in Manhattan are like one way only. So like if you miss a turn, you're fucked. And good luck trying to lane change in that craziness, because like everyone's out to like basically kill each other. We sat in that intersection for 15 minutes as the light cycled like 10 times, and everyone in the oncoming, they just kept U-turning like right in front of us. And after you hopped out of the truck, bro, I eventually was like, man, fuck these people, fuck this light, I'm just going forward, man. And I just gunned it. So yeah, stay out of New York City, stay out of DC, stay out of Los Angeles if you can avoid it. And Atlanta's pretty bad too if you catch it during traffic hour and rush hour and everything. But man, it's freaking nuts. So Mrs. Producer has already dropped the StreamYard link in the chats below, so in the live chats. If you guys want to join this fantastic live stream and shoot the shit with us, I'll give you a little introduction. We'll ask you some fun chats. We'll talk about what's going on in the recent history with politics, with cryptocurrency, with you personally, all sorts of good stuff. But Mrs. Producer, if you wouldn't mind, yes, go ahead, and there's your guys' link right there, StreamYard.com/Romeo Bravo 38. I'm not going to read the rest of that. You guys know what to do. Go ahead and copy that, and just for the guys that are listening on the audio, catching us on the replay, that's where you go and join our live stream. But anyways, it's a good time. Hop on in here. We will add you onto stream. Mrs. Producer, whenever someone comes in, I'm keeping my eye on the private chats as well. So just let me know when someone hops in. But before we get to talking on more of the stuff that's going on, we're going to actually, Jay, we're going to bring it back to the Joe's question, which I said we would do in the beginning that I totally forgot about. But we're going to do a quick little round of chat shoutouts to recognize the people at home, because we know you guys are doing a fantastic job interacting with us. This has been a killer Whiskey Wednesday. Mrs. Producer, would you mind go ahead and pulling up our first of the chat shoutouts? We've got Beyond All saying, "What's up, Hexican?" or "Sup, Hexicans." The other popular is Kalashi. I don't know what that means, but
The betting,
you're absolutely
the betting
right.
market, betting
The
market.
betting market. Oh, okay. All right. I was thinking of Katamari, which is the game where you roll the
That's
thing and
that's
you
the game.
collect up.
That's Katamari Damashi. Will.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Different Japanese word there. Perhaps I'm combining similar things, but yep. Shout out to Kalashi, the betting market. You're absolutely right. Beyond all. Good to see you, amigo, and welcome to the DGen Roundtable chats and things. Next up, we've got Danny Boy saying, "What's up, Hex fam? What's up to you too, sir? Good to see you. Hex is great. I freaking love it. Better than Bitcoin. Although Bitcoin is doing phenomenal right now." We just had Peter Schiff talk about, I think he was making a sarcastic post about buying Bitcoin and stuff. And I made sure to put in the chats over there on Twitter that hey, just wait till Uncle Peter Schiff finds out about Hex. And then who was it? It was Jeff from the DGen Roundtable reminded me that that he did a 2-hour interview with Richard Hart. So shout out to Peter Schiff and shout out to Richard Hart. And that interview, it's actually quite good. I enjoyed that interview. Richard focused the stream mostly on Bitcoin rather than on Hex, and it was a good stream. So shout out to you, sir. Good to see you, Danny Boy, and welcome to the
There was
chat.
somebody that unearthed one of Uncle Peter's old X tweets saying Bitcoin will never reach $100,000.
I saw that. He actually in that Twitter, he actually said, "Yeah, I probably got that one wrong." So he recognizes
Golf clap to
when
Uncle Peter.
Yeah. What's that?
Maybe a golf clap to Uncle Peter, and
Yep.
when the day comes that you decide to join the bandwagon, we will welcome you with open arms. We're gonna bag on you for a little bit, and we'll never let you live it down. But you'll be more than welcome, Uncle Peter.
It's some
Prodigal son
friendly ribbing.
returns.
It's just the good, just playing around with the boys, so to speak. But there's that one, and then I know there's another somewhat famous bet, although I say it's famous, but it's like hyper niche, which is that GG33, the numbers guy, went on Charlie's show, and they made a bet. Charlie said that Bitcoin is going to hit $100,000 before the end of 2025. Because GG3. I know. Everyone in the I was there. I was watching it live. I remember listening. Everyone in the comments, we're all there listening to Charlie talking about 4-year cycle, talking about fib targets, talking about everything in the past, all the different Bitcoin ratios going on, and everyone's like, 100K by the end of the bull market. That's an easy bet. Let's make that. Let's do it. Let's go. And there's a chance he might even win that a whole year early.
Isn't that crazy? That's
wild.
So fun. Yeah, GG33 is super fun to listen to. I love the way that he interacts with people. He's a very wise people person.
Oh, for sure. Again, this falls exactly into the friendly ribbing territory, which is we're all just poking him with the elbow. Me, like, nice bet, guy. But at the end of the day, we're all in this. Hey, same team here. Same team. No friendly fire.
Yep.
We're all trying to go to the moon together. We just have different price targets, and that's okay.
Speaking of all of us going to moon together, we're going to go to the chat shoutouts where there is a very special person, very special to me. We've got Mr. Hex Monkey. What is up, amigo? Let's go, DGen's Hex Monkey. Good to see you. Met this guy twice in real life over at the CMC meetup in Vegas. Shout out to Charlie and Miguel, since we were talking about them anyways. Met him down there and also saw him over at the Richard Hart meetup. Shout out to Hex Monkey. This dude's an absolute fucking G, man. Fucking love to see you, Monkey. And I believe that we're going to see him at the Pulse Chain Tour, but I'm not entirely positive on that. I haven't caught up with the chats in the stuff yet, but this dude is super cool when it comes to Hex meetups. Hex Monkey is there, so shout out to him. And speaking of excellent people that are close to our hearts, we've got the Brothers 64. Great panel tonight, defense. Happy Whiskey Wednesday. It's good to see you, Sam. It's good to, I think, Sam and Greg. Good to see you, Sam and Greg. Welcome to the show. We fucking love the Brothers 64. For those of you guys that don't know, go check out Instagram.com/Brothers64 and also Linktree/Brothers64. It's got all of their YouTube, all of their TikTok, all their Instagram, everything over on that Linktree. These guys make some phenomenal, simple crypto humor that really like appeals to folks in our age range between like, 45 to I would say 20, 25, 27,
In
somewhere
our
in that
niche, they make
Yeah.
crypto comedy content.
Yes, and it's all centered around like Nintendo 64 theme, which is why they're called the Brothers 64. So they make some really good, just like short term or like short form content that is just outstanding at just like poking fun at people, getting people into like the idea that crypto's fun, crypto's cool, crypto's okay. So shout out to the Brothers 64. I fucking love those guys and everything that they do over there on their channel and on their Instagram and stuff. Can't get enough of them, and love to see them. It has been a while since we've seen you guys in the chat, so it's good to see you guys are back. Perhaps I'm not gonna put the OnlyFans curse on them like I did with Josh, but like perhaps everyone's coming back with this this recent price action.
The DGen Roundtable has dubbed the Crypto Thought. Congratulations.
Yep. Oh, there you go. Hominis Dominus and Nomine Padre Filii Spiritus Sancti. It is so let it be written, so let it be done. Next up in chat, shoutouts though, Mrs. Producer, would you mind pulling up? We've got Nellyville 23. It is sweet. I get to see my brother, Hex Monkey, in January. Bro, he is our brother. He is all of
What
our
up, Nelly?
brothers. Hex Monkey is one of my favorite Hex skins out there. Jay, did you have
For a little bit of context, what Nelly's talking about is if you know, you know, because you're in the Moon Gang. There might be something going on in January. So if you're there, you're there. If you're not, well, sorry.
Yep. There you go. For those of you that aren't in the Moon Gang, y'all should go become a part of the Moon Gang by watching Charlie Cultivate Crypto and by watching Miguel Dollar Cost Crypto, their YouTube channels. So go check them out. Those dudes are awesome. They run an awesome course, and they've got a lot of good alpha, a lot of good storytelling, a lot of good onboarding information, and a really great community over there at the Moon Gang and in the Citadel. So go check them out. Cannot shout those gentlemen out enough. Next up in the chat shoutouts, we've got Mr. Yellowtail. Hola, better times coming with the squiggly line. But of course, I freaking love it. You're absolutely right, Yellowtail. I am quite certain that the good times are coming and that we're all going to be rocketing on up to the moon in the near future. And if we're not rocketing up to the moon in our finances, we're rocketing up to the moon in our friendships, because we're just getting wealthier every day with the people that we meet, the cool information that we pass on, and just life is good. Life is absolutely good.
Yeah, man.
And then
IRL Power of Friendship from One Piece, you know?
Yep. Ooh, that's another one I'm gonna have to watch in the near future.
Oh, no.
Don't watch
it. The One Piece isn't real. It's just an idea to get the boys together to go pirating.
Yeah, I was about to say, isn't One Piece about pirating?
It is
Yes.
about pirating. It's about 1,000+ episodes. They're not even done, and then they're remaking it in Netflix. So I don't know what's going on there, man.
They made
That was Yu-Gi-Oh's thing,
they
Jay.
made a terrible IRL of One Piece though, didn't they?
Actually, the
was that?
consensus is, as far as most live actions,
Yeah.
the One Piece live action is actually one of the better ones. I still
No kidding.
thought it was terrible, but I am very biased against One Piece.
So here's what I'm gonna do, Jay, because you thought it was terrible. I'm gonna actually watch that one first, because I always pick the one that people hate the most first. Like when it came to Berserk, I watched the Berserk like 2016, 2017 animated series first, and then I went back in time to the what used to be a trilogy that then got remade into a 25 episode series, and then that one was like the 2004 one, and then I watched the 93 version, the original. Oh, there goes my camera. The original Berserk anime, and then after that, then I read the entire manga. So I go from the thing that people hate the most. I start off with that one,
Oh,
and then I use the other things to
disclosure,
fill
sir.
in the story.
The
What's that,
anime, the full disclosure, the anime is just as bad as the live action, if not worse.
Oh, yeah?
Oda Sensei is the greatest mangaka of all time by sales, right? The distance between number 1 and number 2 doesn't come close, right? He blows people out the water when it comes to sales, right? He's been able to capture the zeitgeist of the young men or the shonen throughout the world with One Piece. So you can't fault him on that. But as far as depth of writing, Oda Sensei is not a great writer. One Piece is a terrible work.
Really?
It is.
Well,
it's not good.
I don't care about terrible work. I care about
gosh.
fucking
How
piracy.
many,
So as far as
How
I'm
many
concerned,
to highlight the point of it's not a great like fictional work, how many episodes does the intro to One Piece, the Romance Dawn, how long does that last? Because I'm pretty sure it lasts like 150 chapters. If I'm thinking correctly, like they literally go get they do like the first start. They get Zoro, they get Nami, they get Sanji, and then they actually go to the port
Usopp,
town where the Usopp
Chopper.
is. Oh gosh,
Yeah, Usopp, Chopper, Bones.
call me a hater, but like the whole getting Usopp was just like a drag.
Yeah, I mean, Usopp's not. I mean, he's definitely not my favorite character. Oh, and Robin. Don't forget Robin. They got Robin.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
Maybe they stole her.
I know I've like only literally scratched like maybe a quarter of all of One Piece, but I still think the Don Krieg arc where they go pick up Sanji, that was a sick fight.
Yep.
Mainly because they the Mihawk, what's his first name?
Hawkeye Mihawk.
Hawkeye Mihawk. That's just a gangster intro, and it just gives some really good
Hawkeye's
character
a
development for Zoro.
Yeah.
So that right there is it steals the show. It's chef's kiss.
One Piece is good for what it is, but don't let the overwhelming like fervor of its fans tell you that it's better than what it is. It's good for what it is. It is a very boilerplate, traditional hero's journey shonen story, and that's all it is.
For sure. The interesting part about it as well is that it kind of is a bit of a remnant from an era that has already passed, which is, if I'm thinking back to some of the old manga and anime stuff, it was like there was the big three, which we had, or I guess you could call it big four, possibly. We had Naruto, Bleach, One Piece, oh gosh, what am I missing here? And Dragon Ball Z. Thank you very much. Yeah, those four. The only one of those that's still going is One Piece, and then allegedly we might get an end in the next 4 years, but we'll see about that.
Allegedly, Oda's been on record saying that sometimes he writes and he just doesn't know where he's going. So I don't even know if he himself has found the One Piece. You know how the common trope for a writer is like you start at the end and you work your way back. I don't know if Oda did that. I don't know if Oda found the One Piece first and then he created Luffy.
It's definitely possible. There are sometimes when you look at some literary works or even movies where you're like the director or the writer really envisioned like one scene with some like characters and like a loose background that really like culminate in like one ultimate like 5-minute scene, and they're just like, yeah, I want to shoot that. And it's like the first like 95 minutes of the movie is kind of like wow, and then you get to that last 5 and it's like beautifully like detailed and edited, and the blocking and the shooting is perfect, and then it's just the end and you're like, okay, you wanted to make an ending moment, not a movie.
Not a movie. Yep.
I don't know. Shoot, who was the one that wrote Jujutsu Kaisen?
It is. Give me a second.
I should know this as well.
So you guys are talking about some pretty technically in-depth stuff with the anime. I'm just I'm a dude. You give me a bowl of vanilla ice cream and I think it tastes good, I'll be super happy. Like
Gigi Akutami.
Yep, it's Akutami Sensei.
Yeah. I think he has an interesting writing style, which is that I showed someone who was relatively new to anime Jujutsu Kaisen, and they're like, oh yeah, seasons 1 is super fun. And I was like, are you ready for season 2? And they're like, yeah, it's only a few episodes, like the normal 12 or 13. I was like, no. I'm pretty sure it's 26. And they just watched everyone get brutalized. And at the end of it, that person looked at me and was just like, oh, that was painful. Oh God. It's like, there's only more to come.
Like arc, the second arc, well, it's not the second, but the second season of JJK gets pretty dark.
It's good though. It's good.
Yeah.
Before you guys get too far into the weeds, there's one more chat shout out. I gotta
get sorry.
Mrock Jockey is over here with his standard red finger red #1 metal yellow fist red. Can you guys see the emojis? Because I cannot see the emoji. I just see the description.
Nope, I see the words.
Okay, excellent. Well, Mrock Jockey or Mr. Ock Jockey, which I still don't know. It's a surprise to this day. I hope you never actually tell me, because that would kind of ruin the fun, I suppose. Unless we meet in real life, and then then you can tell me, and I'll keep it secret, keep it safe. And then whenever we're on stream, we'll always just pretend not to know. But Mr. Mrock Jockey over here with the pulse chain #1 and the fist or something. I
think it's a gold medal. I'm looking at it on YouTube now. We have the foam finger and we have a gold medal.
Oh, you can see it on YouTube?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that must be StreamYard then. I blame StreamYard. Well, that's freaking awesome. It's good to see you, M Rock Jockey. Welcome, or Mr. Ock Jockey, I suppose I should say. Man, these chats are freaking crazy. So, like, you guys were talking, and I don't know if my my comment came in earlier, but you guys are talking about the finer points of anime and things, and
Yeah.
I was saying that I like something that entertains me. Like, I don't know about all these details, like a Shogun story and hero's journey. I just like a good story. If you put my example was, if you put a bowl of vanilla ice cream in front of me and it tastes good, I'll eat the fucking vanilla ice cream and I'll be like, yeah, this is some good vanilla ice cream. You know, I don't need a whole lot of fancy stuff. Is that where you guys were going with, like, these animes just aren't as good as, like, these
No.
deeper?
No,
and stuff?
not necessarily, right?
There's variety. I
yeah.
think this is a personal take. I think that Japanese animation, aka anime, has learned pacing in the last like decade or two, which is that previously, like, shout out to everybody who suffered through the Konoha Crush arc in Naruto, where Hiruzen was trying to pull a sword out of Orochimaru for like 27 episodes. Like, dear God, learn pacing. So when we get to some of the more modern stuff like Jujutsu Kaisen, I think My Hero Academia also went through it pretty quickly as well. And even Dandadan, which I'm watching right now in the dubbed, I haven't watched subbed yet, or the
Dandadan is going to be the next great shonen.
It's
gonna
good.
be the
It's
next
very
great
good.
shonen.
It's very good. I like it. It's a good chuckle, but at the same time, it's slightly different. But they've definitely figured out pacing, which is that instead of having the classic anime trope where it's like Dragon Ball Z or a Naruto recap where like the first 5 minutes is the same last 5 minutes of the last episode, where you just feel like if you're watching it back to back,
that's
it's hard to
tedious,
watch.
man.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Does
Shout out to the people
Crunchyroll
that
skip that?
no, don't think so. Shout out to the people that put together I want to say it's Naruto Kai or something, but people did a fan edit of the Naruto sub and they cut out all the redundancies and shortened it from like 700 episodes to like 180 episodes or something. They might have also cut out all the filler too, but I think pacing has been a big improvement.
Holy shit.
And to kind of cap off the conversation here, Will, we're not bagging on fans of
No.
shows like One Piece. If
Uh-huh.
you like the story, then absolutely fantastic. What me and Z are arguing here is that there are fans who get a bit overzealous and think that One Piece is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Now we're comparing that to other mangakas in the genre. Like when you put somebody like Oda
Length does
Sensei-
not equal good.
Exactly, right? And sales does not necessarily equal your depth as a writer, right? Because if
Sales equals popularity.
yeah,
And marketing.
Oda,
Yeah.
like Oda
And marketing, there you
Sensei,
go.
when you put him against the great authors in Japan like Mitsuru Adachi Sensei or Togashi Sensei, who created Hunter x Hunter and Yu Yu Hakusho, like when you compare Oda's writing to theirs, it's like you're not going to come close, right? That'll like it's a blowout. If you're a fan of One Piece because you enjoy the story, absolutely, you're like kudos to you that you can keep up with 1,000 episodes of terrible pacing, right? Like I'm not going to fault you for that, but don't tell me that it's the best thing since sliced bread, because like you're not going to convince me, bro. It's just
not.
It's just
The
not.
thing that's in my realm that's relatable for me in that is I'm like a big gun, like weapons guy and whatnot, and the thing that I think that relates to that is people that are super stoked about Glocks and that
There you
talk
go.
about Glocks all day long.
I
don't know
What do
if,
you mean by that? Elaborate, please.
So there used to be, and this is more back in, I would say, 2014 when I adopted this stance. So like it's a 10 years old mindset, right? But like the Glock fan base was fucking crazy. And Glock's a good weapon. It does the thing it's supposed to. It shoots just fine. It functions great. But I just remember, like, I just got so tired of everyone that's like, oh my God, I got this Glock, this, that, or the other thing. And this Glock does all this cool stuff. And Glock, 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 Glock. And everybody, oh man, what a
There it is.
terrible
That's the correct
soundbite.
sound.
I hope
No,
nobody.
that's the correct soundbite.
That is the correct soundbite. But there's just people all up and down singing the praise. And I guess you get that with any fan base of anything. There's going to be a rabid part of any fan base. It's just going to kind of ruin it for everyone else. It's just like in it for fun, in it for greatness. Like Glocks are good weapons. I don't disagree. I think that they're
Same thing with
do their
crypto,
job.
right?
Yeah, same thing with
Same thing
crypto.
with crypto.
Oh yeah.
Right? You
Yo,
got
speaking-
assets that are objectively better, and then you got people who are like, yeah, Cardano's the best thing since sliced bread.
Yes, let's use this actually, Jay, to pivot into what you wanted to cover with Joe's comment in the beginning of the
more
stream. Mrs.
anime
Producer, are
talk.
you able to
More
scroll all
anime.
the way back up through this through this Declaration of Independence of documents, which is our chats, because you guys have been absolutely tearing it up and finding us. Let's see, who was it? It was
Right. We're
it was
approaching
Joe.
Magna Carta length. It's getting
Yeah.
lengthy in here, which is good. So keep it up.
Man, it was Joe, and he said, "Oh man, this
Basically,
is so
Joe
far.
said, "I wish I would have bought Bitcoin and Doge instead of Ethereum
Yes.
and Pulsechain." Do you
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
take that first, Z?
Yeah. I think that this is a new sentiment, but a very important sentiment that you're going to have to learn to fight, which is that if you are following your strategy and you're following everything accordingly, guess what? Things are not going to go according to plan. And that means that sometimes Doge is going to pump before Ethereum pumps. And then you're going to look at your portfolio and you're going to look at yourself in the mirror and you're going to say, wow, were we drinking glue or not? I don't know. And at the end of the day, you got to be able to stomach it and be like, look, we're in crypto because we can stomach the volatility, which means I should also be theoretically able to stomach the second guessing myself with all the different coins. Because believe me, I am right there, which is my little spoiler alert. Z's portfolio is largely Ethereum based. Guess what has not been doing well right now? Ethereum. Guess what I've been looking at, but I have specifically chosen not to get into because I've been trying to maintain discipline and keep the blinders on and focus on the things that I think are quality value products. That's right. I'm focusing primarily on L1s and narratives that make sense. GameFi, TradFi, L1s, the big two, Ethereum, Bitcoin, and then anything that could theoretically become that third blue chip. And obviously also the Richard Heart ecosystem. You know what's not included in that? Doge, Pepe. You know what has been outperforming everything in my portfolio right now? Doge and Pepe.
Yeah.
Do I feel a little salty or a little like, not salty at like the world, but like me of like, wow, you thought you were smart, but you're stupid. It's like, nope. The theory still holds. The meme coins and the altcoins will pump, but that cannot distract me from the point that we purpose built our strategy. Unless the conditions on the ground have changed, there's no reason to deviate from it. And as I see it right now, the conditions on the ground have not changed. Market forces are doing what they're doing, but at the same time, I'm sticking to the plan, and I have conviction based on what's built. Until I get confirmation that the trend is broken and that things have deviated, we're still good. And the answer is turn off the charts, go touch grass.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Very well said, Z.
That was
Here's a
self-therapy
few
right there.
things- Yes. A few things that I will say to Joe, if he's still in the chat, and I hope that he is.
Yeah.
Like Z said, don't focus on the shiny objects. There are going to be specific sectors. You brought up Doge, meme coins, that are always going to outpace the market, right? Doesn't matter what time of the year it is. Doesn't matter who's president. Doesn't matter if there's a war going on. People are going to be gambling degenerates for meme coins. It's number one. Number two, your sentiment towards Bitcoin is correct. This is a lesson that I think people in their first cycle need to learn, and they need to learn it the hard way. Bitcoin will run the market for the overwhelming majority of the 4-year cycle. Yes, even during the bear market, right? And what you've realized and what we've spoken about here over the past few weeks is that importance of paying attention to, number one, how dominant Bitcoin is reflected in the Bitcoin dominance, and why it's important to take a look at what the ETH Bitcoin pair is doing, because it's a proxy for the health of the altcoin space, right? If you don't like Bitcoin because you're like, it's grandpa money, it's at the top of its S curve, like Richard says, and I don't want to make 3x, I want to make 10x, 50, 100x. Even if you don't like Bitcoin, you should still predominantly be in Bitcoin, because if you haven't noticed, the cycle of Bitcoin dominating the market and the Ethereum Bitcoin pair finding new lows and sweeping its lows up until the post-halving year, or a bit earlier than that, like Q4 of this year, has not been broken. Which means if you held a predominantly Bitcoin heavy for portfolio, you're buying more altcoins now with that rotation than you did at the very bottom of the bear market, right? So for everybody who's its first cycle and they got honeydicked by the promise of altcoins making 100, 1,000x, this is a lesson for you. There's this old saying that eventually everybody becomes a Bitcoin maxi. Now, you don't have to be a Bitcoin maxi, right? You don't have to like it. But you also can't ignore the fact that it is running the market. And until it doesn't, do not assume that it doesn't. Right? Now, lastly, your sentiment was, I wish I would have bought X instead of Ethereum and Pulse Chain. Right? Well, I am going to share with you, this is since this has been we discussed this a little bit earlier, right? A lot of people who were on the call like, hey, do you have any exact dates for us, Jay? Right? And I had estimates. Well, I actually went back and took a look at the data that we have so far, and I can give you some pretty solid numbers, right? So I'm going to share with you here my Ethereum Bitcoin chart to give us some estimates as to exactly where we might potentially find a bottom on that pair, and by proxy, where the rest of the altcoin market is going to bottom against Bitcoin and finally reverse. Right. So let me go ahead and share that screen really quickly. So here is your ETH Bitcoin pair, and I've had it pulled all the way back here into our 2 cycles before. Right. So this is before the 2019 to the 2022 cycle. Right. Now, one of the things that we mentioned is the market is not going to shift. Right. The market is not going to shift from being predominantly invested in Bitcoin into altcoins until we get into an environment that is very risk on. Right. And what is a proxy for the markets transitioning to risk on? Well, that's the Federal Reserve transitioning to it's a loose monetary policy, right? Which is the Fed pivot. Well, we really only have one time since crypto, or at the very least, since the Ethereum Bitcoin pair has existed, we only have one time where the Fed actually pivoted, right? And that is all the way back here, right? This is August 1st of 2018, right? So how long after the Fed transitioned from a tight to a loose monetary policy, right, did it take for the Ethereum Bitcoin pair to find its bottom and altcoins finally starting to take off, right? Well, if you take your time tool, right, from our Fed pivot all the way up until we found our ETH Bitcoin bottom here, right, that was approximately 128 days. So if you take a look at the Ethereum USD chart, where did we see the Ethereum USD actually follow suit? Not too much after. Let me go ahead and switch here from my ETH Bitcoin to ETH USD.
Yeah. You have lost your screen share. Mrs. Producer, if we could find a way to pull that back up when Jay
because I switched over.
Offers it. Oh, okay.
All right. So ETH USD bottomed literally less than a week afterwards, right? So 134 days after the Fed pivot in August 1st of 2018, ETH USD finally found the bottom, right? So when can we expect to find the ratio to bottom and theoretically the altcoins start running against Bitcoin? Mrs. Producer, can we this is ETH Bitcoin, right? So then we can have a timeline, right? Because now we can use the last Fed pivot as a reference point. So the Fed pivoted earlier this year, Wednesday, the 18th of September, right? So if we take our time tool and extrapolate that 128 days into the future, then we can have a reasonable assumption on where Ethereum Bitcoin is finally going to find its bottom. That puts us at very late January of next year, right? So basically Q1 of next year, right? If we are going to do it earlier, we're going to find the bottom for ETH Bitcoin sometime in December of this year, because that's when it happened after the Fed pivot in 2018, right? Q4 in December, right? So this time frame here from December of this year to January of this year can give you a reasonable time frame, right? You can narrow it down to when we can finally see the ETH Bitcoin pair shift trend and the altcoins finally start running against Bitcoin. So, like, why did I want to tell you all that, Joe? It's because if you are in the sentiment of, well, now I have to sell out of my Pulse chain, I have to sell out of my Ethereum, you're basically selling at the point in time where that rotation would actually be unfavorable to you, right? If there was a time to rotate your Ethereum into Bitcoin, it would have been at the very beginning of 2023, not now, right? And so you'd literally only have anywhere between 1 to 2 more months of patiently waiting and sitting on your hands before that trend finally reverses to the upside. Okay. So I know that this has been a very harsh lesson for a lot of people to learn in their 4-year cycle journey. Their first one, of course, right? But you have held up until now. Do not fumble your bags and use this knowledge to take it to your next 4-year cycle, because we hope that you're going to be here still. You're going to be around for the next one, and you can take that lesson with you, right? So that's what I got for Joe.
For sure. Joe, this is not financial advice, but the only advice I can give you is heed Jay's warning, because otherwise you will owe him money. Remember that. The man has some good advice here, so take that for what you will.
The Jay's TA was right. Jar is going to be.
Jay was right, Jar. It's getting full.
Yeah, but I'm not a Bitcoin maxi, guys. I am a profit maxi, and I want all of you to win. All right, you don't have to listen to me, right? But at the very minimum, you can have a high degree of confidence that I'm not trying to sell you a narrative. I want you to I guess I am. I want you to follow the narrative that makes you the most money, right? And this pattern has not broken since crypto has been around.
Yep.
So that, as it stands, that's what's going to make you the most money. And I want you to make the most fucking money, even if you dislike Bitcoin.
Also, keep in mind, when we say most money, again, it's nothing we say here is financial advice, obviously. By the way, if you're listening to Whiskey Wednesday for financial advice, take a look in the mirror, my man. I hope you're all right. But first and foremost, there are risk curves to all of this, which is that you have to understand who you are as an investor, or if you're a trader. Cool. Hats off to you. We don't really do that here. The most trading that we ever do is looking at 60-day cycles to buy in for the 4-year cycle. So that's really about it. But the point is that understand that there are different risk curves to this, and there's different ways to make money. So when Jay says stuff like we want to make the most money, correct. We want to make the most money. It's kind of like the Lafler curve when it comes to the taxes, which is that theoretically I could tax everyone at 100%. I'd get $0 though, because there'd be no incentive to make money. I could also not tax people at all and they'd make the most money, but I would get no tax dollars, which means that there's a middle ground there on that curve, which says that there's theoretically a point that sticks out the farthest. That is that perfect balance between taxation and not taxation, or in our case, versus risk to reward, that we can maximize it the best that we can. And that's what we're shooting for right here. We have different strategies. I think, all of us on the DGen Roundtable probably have slightly varying strategies. I even gave my hand earlier, which is that I primarily focus on Ethereum, L1s, major narratives like GameFi, AI, Richard Heart ecosystem, that kind of stuff. Meanwhile, we have people like Nate who really love getting into the more DGen protocols, or the low market cap coins. Those have extraordinary potential, but at the same time, the amount of them is very high, which means it's high risk, high reward, versus I'm lower on that curve. So it's figure out where you are. And then to tie it back to the point that I made earlier, which is that I'll fully admit, this is my first full cycle. I've been here since 2022, so I've never really known good times. And the whole claim to fame for me was I was trading stocks and options back in 2020, 2021, and I bought a little bit of Ethereum at 1900. It dipped during normal fluctuations, and I got scared because I was in the stock mindset. And then I immediately sold when I got back even, and then watched it literally 2.5x from there. Yeah. So this is the first full cycle. It's understanding what is going on. It is me holding primarily Ethereum, looking at Doge and Pepe and being like, wow, I'm an idiot for purposely ignoring these things when I should have just, taken a scratcher. But at the same time, if I had taken the scratcher, it means that the consistent DCAs that I got at very low Ethereum lows, especially in the most recent past, it means I wouldn't have made those. it's all trade-offs. So it's what is it? Comparison is the thief of joy.
Yep.
Is that the quote there?
That's correct.
Yeah, it's the same thing. We're not going to know how this plays out until it plays out. So if you believe you have a good strategy, stick to the strategy until all the signals tell you that you're wrong, in which case it's probably time to pivot or shift. So which case, it might be worth doing. I don't know. Am I crazy here, boys?
No, dude, you're absolutely right. My story is I've made almost nothing but bad decisions. Like I wear this bad idea t-shirt, like because one, it's part of my branding, and because two, like I recognize that I make a ton of bad decisions. And I remember my first Ethereum that I bought was at $1,000, and I was like, man, what is this dirty stuff? I'm a Bitcoiner guy. I shouldn't be buying this Ethereum crap. And I was talking to my brother about it, who's also a Bitcoin maxi, not Sam, my other brother Ed, and I was just like, man, what, like this Ethereum stuff, you know, $1,000. I shouldn't do this. I should just go buy Bitcoin. It was like I think it was at like 25,000 or 30,000 at the time. And I was like, yeah, screw this Ethereum stuff and buy Bitcoin. And I just kept buying Bitcoin all the way up to the top. And this was like between 2021 and whenever the top was, what was it? 2020. When was the top? I don't remember the top. I don't know. Some point.
Top which year? This year or 2021?
The 65,000 top. I bought from 25,000 all the way up to 65. I just kept
that
buying,
was March, April of 2021.
Okay. There you go. Okay, so I started, I would have started a year before that then. So never mind. 2020 is when I started buying Bitcoin. And I just kept buying all the way up to the top, and then I like sold on the way down, and I was just like, man, I keep making all these bad ideas and these bad decisions. Oh wait, there's this protocol out there developed by this crazy guy who twerks on camera and does like and like dances on a stripper pole on the FNF show, and he made like a thing that basically like lets you lock your stuff up so you don't make decisions. And I was like, this is the thing for me, because I make nothing but bad decisions. I'm the bad idea guy. And so I was like, hey, I'm just going to lock all my, like, I'm going to lock my money up so I don't have the opportunity to do any bad stuff anymore. And I basically took the decision-making power and I put it into a smart contract instead of in my own hands. And I've found peace or nirvana ever since that point. And so like Z, you're talking about your portfolio is mostly Ethereum. My portfolio is mostly stake hex. Like I think over
based,
like
very
far
based.
over half of my portfolio is Quattro Cinco hex stakes.
That is
so, like,
conviction right there, my dude. I salute you. Like Godspeed,
every single
sir.
week, man, I'm stacking T-shares. Like even now when I'm not getting paid, I'm still stacking T-shares, because that's the thing that I do is I take a predetermined amount of hex and I stake it out for 15 years, and then so it's like we'll see if it pays out or not. Like I'm only 2 years into the process because I started. Around,
I'm gonna bet on delayed gratification. I think you're gonna be all right. I'm just gonna take a guess here.
Yeah, I think I'll be okay. Like I don't think I'll be like crazy awesome, because like I've got plays for this cycle, and I'm sure that I'm gonna screw those up too, right? Like I've screwed up everything else in my crypto career so far. Like the only thing that I've made gains on so far, like tangible gains, is like the gift tech, which is because I was a scared little person. I sold a tiny portion of my fraction before the top, and then also Pepe. Pepe and Gift Tech are the only things that have made me fucking money in this bull run. So it's like, how interesting of a scenario.
What made you money was heading over to a undisclosed place in Texas to hang out with Kool-Aid, and then Kool-Aid gives you the galaxy brain idea, and then you're like, I understand. And then
I don't.
No, shout out to Kool-Aid.
Shout out to our good friend Crypto Kool-Aid. I did not understand a single thing he says, but like, oh, never mind. I also made money off of the Titan X ecosystem. So I was very lucky, and I learned about Titan X from Larry very early on, and I'm like, oh, this seems like Ponzi-nomics. I'm in. And so like I started a miner. Like I didn't buy the coins, I just started a miner. Like you destroy Ethereum, you wait for time, and then Titan X gets printed. And
I want to give our boys roses though, which is that is Titan X unfortunately not performing as I would hope it would.
Well,
that would be correct because it has some issues. Correct, but at the same time, it's like the idea of doing a cross-chain staking protocol that makes sense to me, which is that you literally just stake two assets that you like, and you get both of them. Like, what's not to love?
Yep.
Like, I mean, unless the protocol doesn't work, but that's another question itself. So,
look at that.
the idea, the theory, the sentiment,
value proposition is good.
Yeah.
Exactly. The use case. The use case makes sense.
It's a selling point. It's a campfire story, right? And so like the more people that buy into the campfire story, the better that it works. And like
I don't know. I think it's less of selling point and more of actual functionality, which is that I understand the marketing aspect, but at the same time, if the stuff doesn't work, it just doesn't work. But when it works and it works well, boy, does it work well.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is like the fact that it works really well is a marketing point, and that's what gets people in, and you know, things of that nature. But like if nobody buys it, then nothing happens. You know, if nobody gets into it, if nobody likes it, then like if there is no like burning campfire stories, if there's no like big bonfire of hope and things going on, then you know, it doesn't move anywhere. So like the first and most important thing is people have to like think about it. It has to occupy attention mind share. It has to follow Metcalfe's law. It has to be like people are actively putting money into it in order for anything to work, whether it's gift tech, whether it's Bitcoin, whether it's Hex, whether it's, you know, Pulsar or whatever the case may be, right? Like whether it's gold or, you know, the Yankees I almost said football team, the Yankee baseball team. Anything has to have like it has to have like marketing and mind share, and people have to be thinking about it, and people have to be like sacrificing value into it and putting effort and energy into the system in order for the system to be worth any sort of value. So like if there is no campfire story for people to believe in, then nothing moves anywhere. So that's just like my general thesis that I have on everything. There has to be something on the opposite side being sacrificed in the value world in order for there to be value generated somewhere else. So that's what I was thinking about in this respect. I'm glad that I got you. I'm glad that gave you a little giggle though.
Yes. Will is rooting for the Yankees to go score a touchdown. Go Yankees! Get that touchdown. Make
you guys got this. Attempt. Go sports ball team.
Yeah, and to kind of cap off the conversation, you have to realize that one of the reasons why I harp on people having a Bitcoin heavy portfolio is because the unfortunate reality of things is that most folks are normal investors, even if you're in crypto. You don't have the time or the attention span to pay attention to the market to the degree that we do, right? Let's just be honest here. Like you don't have that. You have a family, you have a life outside of your investments, you have responsibilities. You're not going to be able to do that. Like that's for those kind of people. For the people who make a living out of trading and who can pay attention to all of these different assets and get in and out on a dime, right? That advice is not for them. Right. This is advice, non-financial advice for the investor who doesn't have the time or the attention span to do the things that we're doing. Right. And if that's you, the reason why staying in Bitcoin predominantly for most of the 4-year cycle is because you don't have to pay attention to it. I always tell one of the things that I tell folks is if you want to be a great value investor and you want to be hands-on, you're buying Bitcoin and that's it. You sleep well at night. You don't look at portfolio. You don't have to look at the news. You just buy at the bottom of the market and then you sell it at the top. And that's it. Right. And so like this advice is for those people. Now you have people on our team, for example. Will just said it, right? He's predominantly Cuatro Cinco stakes. This, like for folks like Will, they've already made peace with the fact that they exist higher on the risk curve and that they've made peace with the potential possibility that it might all go to shit, right? And if you have not made peace with it yet, then you have no business being in meme coin number 55,922. Sorry to say.
100%.
You have no business being there because you will lose your money and you will quit and you will leave the best performing asset class of all time. And we don't want that to happen to you.
That's a very base take, actually. If you're unable to Cuatro Cinco stake Hex, you have no business in meme coins. That kind of makes sense.
Yep.
What's really interesting about the Cuatro Cinco stake, and my brother and I were talking about this either yesterday or the day before. So shout out to Sam. I see you're in the comments, by the way. Shout out to Sam saying like that video. Abso-fucking-lutely, broski. It's good to see you. But Sam and I were talking about Hex, and he had recently made a Cuatro Cinco stake, and he was like, it wasn't any like crazy dollar amount, but he was like, man, I'm in it for 15 years now. Like I'm a part of this group. Like there's no going back. And it's like, oh, you can't escape. And so like while it's definitely a risky move, it's also like it gives you the peace of mind that you don't have to make these decisions of like, do I hold, do I sell, do I hold, do I sell, do I buy more, do I wait for the price to go down? It's just like, no, the decision comes at the end stake day, and then it's like, oh, do I sell, do I restake, do I wait, whatever. And it's like, and you put that off until later when theoretically the number will be greater, or it'll be zero, and you don't have to worry about any of the time in between, because there's nothing that you can do by like
Nothing you can
removing
do.
your control of the situation and entrusting it into a smart contract. It takes away your brain processing stress factor, whatever that value might be. So I use hex staking to basically be at peace with things, just like you were saying, Jay. It's like,
Yep.
I have learned to come to peace with the fact, because like,
Yeah.
I've learned by tripping over and falling and putting my face in the mud so many times that like, wow, I'm really bad at this. I should do something better. And it just so happened that like I found the hex thing, and it works great. As far as I'm concerned, it works great. Even
Yeah.
if the number goes down, even if whatever, like I'm doing a
Yeah.
thing and it works for me, and it's
Yeah.
turned into like a little religion. But it's bought me peace of mind. It's bought me serenity. It's bought me, that the serenity prayer, God grant me the power to accept the things I can't change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Yeah.
So like I now am like each little step of the serenity prayer, like the hex contract solves each one of those things for me, as far as how that stuff goes. So that's the thing that I do. That's the thing that works for me. Zenith thing works
Yeah.
for him. Jay's thing works for him. These are all like, none of this is financial advice, but these are all just like the stuff that we're doing, and you guys can do it too. You don't have to. We're just, three assholes talking about our plans on the internet and how we're solving problems. I hope that there's some other people out there that are interested in talking about how they're solving plans, so that way we can all learn from this and all move forward and stuff. But gentlemen, what say we do one last round of chat shoutouts and then move to close? Does that sound good to you guys? We've
Sounds
covered
good
a
to
lot
me.
of things today.
Yeah.
We have
Good
covered
stream.
a lot of things.
Mhm.
Oh, and I know that at the beginning of the show, I talked about the Phantom Wallet update warning. It's essentially a Reddit conversation. So I'm just going to read the real quick cliff notes here. And this is from news_crypto on Telegram. Users of Phantom Wallet are reporting that a recent update is wiping login information. Make sure to write down your seed phrase before you update the Phantom Wallet. And that's Phantom with a PH, not Phantom with an F. So not the Phantom ecosystem, but a Phantom like Spooky Ghost, correct spelling and things. So that being said, Mrs. Producer, I do believe that our chat shout is actually my brother saying like the video. So if you wouldn't mind pulling that up, and folks at home, you guys should definitely like the video. Like my brother Sam said, shout out to Sam. You guys should go check out Rapid Designs, or Bungalows for Bachelors. I can't remember what the thing is now, but my brother has a really cool community and it's super fun. We do live community calls on Tuesdays, and it's really cool. But that covers it for chat shoutouts. Thank you guys so much for joining us. For the folks in the audience that are catching us live or on the replay, we super duper appreciate y'all being here. Gentlemen, Mr. Zenith and Mr. Agent J, in that order, where can the folks find you, and what have you got going on in the near future, my friends?
Oh, shoot. Folks, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at ZenithDI. It's also right there in the little sub-handle thingy. Other than that, though, you can hit me up in the DGen Roundtable Telegram chat. Just scan the QR code that's on stream right now. They'll take you over to our Telegram chat. You can add any of us on the team or anybody in the chat, and we'll try to get back to you as quickly as we can. Like I said, we had a fantastic Telegram Tuesday call. It was one of the first ones that I made recently, just because I'm trying to do a lot of the YouTube stuff, and I really appreciate the team that does all the Telegram stuff. So whenever we have those fun crossover episodes, that's where it really gets wild. But other than that, yeah, we have a show this Friday. It's actually Will's. I'll let him cover that. But we are doing a book club. I believe it is 15 Ways to Change the World by Richard Hart, narrated by the Wild SJ. Shout out to her, by the way. She was an amazing guest on a show that we did about a week ago called A Few Good Hexicans, aka a reading of the court transcript from New York City and a very old reference to A Few Good Men with who's that? Tom Cruise and
Jack Nicholson.
Jack Nicholson. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Demi Moore? Was Demi Moore in it?
She might have been in there. I believe it.
Might have been.
I believe it. Yeah. But other than that, that's what we got going on. Every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, we do our main, our flagship show where we cover the crypto news, anything going on in the markets, and anything that we think is pressing and important. Other than that, though, that is about all we got. I mean, my name is Zenith. I think my favorite Naruto fight is Shikamaru versus Tamari, and I'm currently watching Dandadan. Other than that, that's all I got. Jay, what you got, brother?
Thank you guys for joining us this wonderful Wednesday evening. As always, we know time is your most valuable asset, so we do appreciate that you spend some of that here with us. You can find me on Instagram at agent_J Schroth, on X at _P90hex. Like the damn video, comment, subscribe, scan the QR code to jump into our Telegram chat if you would like to be part of the exclusive content that we put out there, including Josh's OnlyFans.
Yes, hit Josh up on Twitter for those OnlyFans. Chocolate Taints, hit him up.
And until next time, man, DGen responsibly will take us out.
Hey, no. Whoa.
Oh,
What's your favorite Naruto fight, and what are you watching right now?
So my favorite Naruto fight is probably Jiraiya versus Pain.
Oh, damn,
that was
damn good choice.
Yeah, so Jiraiya is my favorite character from Naruto. So that was kind of like that was his swan song. So R.I.P. Jiraiya.
What are you watching?
Dandadan. Dandadan, 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 dandadan.
Creepy Nuts is the best. I'm telling you. Creepy Nuts is amazing. I love it. Like, they are the reason that I watch Mashley, and I love Call of the Night, and their OP and their ending is just amazing. Go check them out, and their live performances off the rails. Absolutely wild.
Oh, and for those of you really old school folks, if you guys like Inuyasha, her other popular work, Ranma 1.5, actually got remade. It's on Netflix. Follows the manga very closely, and Ranma 1.5 is very charming. So I'm watching that too. And if you like her work, then you'll like that one too.
Excellent. Alrighty. So for the folks at home, I've been dropping a shit ton of links in the chats just now. The first thing that I'm going to cover is book club. So Zenith already said it. I'll say it again. I'm hosting book club this Friday. We're covering 15 Ways to Fix the World by Richard Hart, narrated by a wild SJ. If you guys want to be a part of our book club, then hop on into this book club Telegram. It is t.me/DGen Book Club. For the folks at home that are listening on audio, that's what the link says. That's how you get into our book club. You guys can check out all of our notes. You can review all the books that we've talked about before, and just generally chat about what your thoughts are on each individual book and everything. So that's what's going on with that. If you guys are a Hexican and you want to meet other Hexicans, I've created a Hexican IRL meetup organization page. You guys can see it underneath my name right here. It is bit.ly/hex_meetup. That's where you can go to basically organize your own little small scale hex meetups. You guys can go meet up at bars. You can throw axes, go on walks in the woods, go to the shooting range, do all sorts of cool things. There's some people that have done some crazy stuff in that chat. We've got spots all over the world. Anybody can create their own topic in that world, and you guys can organize your own meetups and do all things of that nature. Another link that I've dropped that I don't talk about a whole lot is my Crypto Bro Services link. So if you're a crypto person and you want to do business with other crypto people, I highly suggest that you guys always do business with your brothers first, like your family and your brothers first, your community second, your country third, and then the world fourth. It's like, you should go shopping at your local grocery store rather than going to Walmart, and buy from the people that are in your community that you care about. Keep the money inside your friendship zone and inside your little area that you like the most. So if cryptocurrency is important to you and you want to do business with other cryptocurrency people, I've not vetted any of these folks. This is just a list that I have created of people that I know that have businesses. So if you need a house built, if you need a website designed, if you need to learn marksmanship, if you want to hire Jay on as a fitness a fitness consultant, or like a nutrition consultant or something like that, all that stuff is in there. So like, you can reach out to people in there. They're happy to do business with you. And caveat emptor, buyer beware. This is just a list of people. Again, none of it's vetted. Let's see. So I've covered business crypto. I've covered
Will, what is your favorite Naruto fight, and what anime are you watching right now?
So my favorite Naruto fight, the only one that I know, is the sand guy versus the muscle, the weights on his arms and legs guy. I don't know their names.
Rock Lee versus Gaara?
Let's
go!
Rock Lee versus Gaara. Jesus Christ, that is a classic one.
Because Rock Lee doesn't have any like magical powers or anything. He's
strictly taijutsu.
He's straight up
he's a-
D's hands.
A
Strictly
dude who got
Taiji.
strong, much like One Punch Man. So I'm not a terribly big anime fan, truth be told. I like essentially two animes. I like Berserk and I like One Punch Man. And anything else
You could do
outside
a
of
lot
that,
worse, Will.
yeah,
You could do a lot worse.
sure. So like I'm not terribly fond of the comedy style that is in most of Japanese anime, and like Berserk doesn't have a lot of it. One Punch Man has a little bit. But those are the two animes that I watch on the regular. Everything else
You
is
know,
just kind of Greek to me. I think
Based
I'm
on
gonna.
that, it seems like Attack on Titan might be up your alley.
Oh yeah, actually, I take it back. I have watched Attack on Titan. That's pretty fun. Attack on Titan could do a
It's
little bit with
fun?
less. Yeah, so Attack on Titan could do with a little bit less of the emotionality, like emotional outbreaks that happens all over. Basically, most of the story is Aaron whining about how life's not fair, and I think that's a little bit sad.
So that is actually a plot device used by the author. So I am of the same vein, right? Will,
Yeah.
I think it
From a
took
viewer's perspective, and I
it
do
took
understand
too
why.
long for Aaron because the focus is basically, look, man, your last hope for humanity. We need you to keep things under wrap and keep things under control. Aaron, like you said, right, has a tendency to get himself caught and get himself in trouble. So that irked me a lot. It's like it shouldn't take that long for your character to realize the severity of the situation and for him to actually realize exactly like how, like, the responsibility that's on his shoulders, right? Not just on him, but the survey corps. The argument that a lot of people make, and what Isayama has made, is that because he is the holder of the Attack Titan, like the aggression comes out as like because he is the Attack Titan.
Correct.
Right? So
And,
that's
like, how
why
that
it
makes
happened to
sense.
him. It's bad. It's a bad plot device, right? But I understand, right? I
Yeah,
understand
from
where
a-
you're coming from.
From a
I still
watcher's
think-
perspective, go ahead.
Go for
Zeke.
it. I was gonna say, I think the peak moment in Attack on Titan is in season 1. I'm pretty sure it's either episode 20 or 21 when the Levi squad faces off against the Lady Titan.
Yeah.
That is it is a brutal scene, and it is a very world building moment that really just puts in place where people are on the power scale, because it's like one of these things has been built up to be very badass, and then the other gets slung around like a slinky and is
Yeah.
it's just a brutal scene, and it was one of those things for me that just like it just hit. I was like, oh, it's this kind of show.
Yep. Attack on Titans, their peak moments is their theme songs, and I agree that like gotta have sex with
Agreed.
the Eagles or whatever their first theme song was.
Yeah.
The thing that like, you know, that doesn't suit my preference is just like I like seeing masculine ideal story character, like main characters, you know. That's why I like Berserk so much, is because Guts is like the idea of like life is tough, deal with it, get strong, and kill people and whatever, you know. Attack on Titans is a lot of like, you know, whining Aaron and stuff, and that's fine. That's part of the story. It's part of the plot. So be it.
If that's the case, then Wistoria, Wand and Sword might be up your alley. It's about one dude trying to make it in the Wizard Academy just by sheer bicep and sword
he
alone.
brute forces it. He brute forces it.
Exactly, just trying to fucking muscle his way out.
That does.
We can't bag on Attack on Titan too much. Like Isayama was very young when he wrote it, so kind of gotta extend him. You gotta extend him a bit of grace, right? For a writer his age, there's a lot of depth to Attack on Titan.
I will extend seasons 1 through 3 grace.
Some grace,
I will not extend season 4 grace.
Yeah. And here's the thing, right? What Attack on Titan does well is the Isayama places Eren with Mikasa and Armin, and those two anchor him. If it was just Eren running the show would have lost its steam long time ago. So I think go ahead.
Eren is very cringe pilled. He's like the what is it? Classroom of Elite, Death Note-esque, but then you have to have the other people who are like actually strong to balance him out.
I did not like
that. That's where Levi. That's where Levi comes in. That's where Kenny comes in, and I mean those two have a dynamic on their own. That like, oh my god,
Levi and Kenny and Commander Erwin. Those were the reasons to watch the show. And also, who's the bald guy?
Erwin's charge alone.
Yeah,
Erwin's charge is like my God, like
His
that gave me
ability to-
chills.
to manipulate
that's-
people.
That's the
was
beauty
the-
of the show, right? Well, it's like if it was only Aaron and he was trying to carry the show, it wouldn't be the same. What made Attack on Titan great was because you had Armin and Mikasa to anchor him down, and you have the rest of the Survey Corps to kind of take on the burden and responsibility
Yes.
for the future of humanity, because we all know that Aaron would not have been able to do it, right? He's young, he's aggressive, too many outbursts, emotional, right? So the supporting cast is actually what held the show down, right?
Yep.
They held Aaron
yeah.
up, right? Like without them, Attack on Titan wouldn't be where it was.
And I've got some fun facts for the folks at home. So two of the Titans, the Armored Titan and the Attack Titan, were based on MMA fighters Brock Lesnar and Yushin Okami, or
Yeah,
UFC
that's pretty
fighters,
cool.
excuse me.
That's pretty cool.
Brock Lesnar
Okay.
was the Attack Titan, and Yushin Okami was the Attack Titan. So
Brock Lesnar,
fun fact.
dude.
There
Wait,
there you
I
guys
think you
go.
said the same thing twice. Who was who? Who was the
Armored
Attack
Titan is Brock Lesnar.
Armored
Okay.
Titan is Brock Lesnar.
Yep.
Okay, okay.
And then
okay.
Attack Titan is Yushin. I
Yeah.
keep messing his name up. Yushin Okami. Yep. But yeah, if you guys pull up pictures of those two MMA guys, or you could also just Google like Titan MMA characters, then it'll show them up. But yeah, those are who they were. Those two were based on specifically. And there's some fun Titans in there. Like one was made to look like Better Call Saul. There was oh man, there's a couple other fun Titans in there. I've watched a lot of YouTube videos recently because I just finished the series not too long ago. But yeah, the like Levi and Kenny and Commander Erevin were definitely the best likable characters. I didn't like any of the main characters. I did not like Mikasa. I did not like Armin, and I did not like Aaron.
Aaron.
So like
Agreed.
they were
Very
all
base take. Well
yeah.
done.
they were all pretty lame. Like I'm not terribly fond of like girl main characters that are stronger than the dudes because it's like, oh, that's very
Oh
realistic.
shoot! Who was the?
And I don't like nerdy boys and I don't like emotional boys.
Who was
so,
the girl with the glasses? The research lady. Was it Hanji?
Oh, Hanji.
Hanji,
Yeah,
yeah.
she was
Yeah.
a fun character. That was a fun one.
She's the chaotic force that is
Eclectic.
a blast, but also at the same time she does pick up the mantle at one point and just like
Yeah.
really carries it forward. And it's
Yep,
like, damn, that's good. That's real good.
Yeah. There was a lot of good stuff in there. And Attack on Titan, while the characters might not be my favorite, the story is pretty damn good. So like as far as my ability to stomach the story and appreciate like the ability for them to like weave a narrative that is interesting and things like that, at least to me, I thought it was a little bit interesting. So as far as to your question of what's the thing I'm gonna be watching in the near future, I think my next one is going to probably be Cowboy Bebop because I like the space
Ooh,
cowboy
good choice.
stuff.
Have
I'm a
you
big
seen,
fan
have,
of
have you seen
Firefly.
Have you seen Trigun?
No.
There you go.
Trigun, I think might be right up your alley. It's a good one.
Okay.
It's only one season. There is a new Trigun, but like just ignore it. Go watch the
Just
old
ignore
school
it.
one.
Okay.
Will, if you like strong masculine lead characters that are actually written well, well then
Yeah.
you've got Spike Spiegel and Trigun, and you got Vasha Stampede and Trigun, and you got Spike Spiegel and Bebop. You'll enjoy those.
Very base.
Yes, Spike is the thing that got to me, and also I've been listening to the Cowboy Bebop theme song for a long time without ever knowing that it was Cowboy Bebop.
Yep.
Like
Good. It's
the
very good.
seatbelts. What was it? Tank by the Seatbelts is I believe the song, and then I was like, oh, that's an anime song. Oh, that's interesting. I might have to check this out. So shout out to my high school friend's older brother. Richie, if you're out there watching this, I doubt you are, but if you are, shout out to you, bro, because he put that on my iPod Nano. When I was but a wee lad.
That's a throwback.
In high school, back when I didn't know how to use computers, and I gave it to my brother, my friend's brother, to put music on there. He put like 32 songs, and one of them was Tank by the Seatbelts. So yeah, anyways, that's what's going on with me in the near future. You guys can catch me in the DGen Roundtable Telegrams. One of the things that I do a lot is I play Sea of Thieves. So I also went and put in the check out our video game section there in the Telegram. And if you guys want to play Sea of Thieves with me, that's the pirate game that I love the most. I like the pirate themes, whether it's RG3 streams or not Cowboy Bebop, which is Space Pirates, Space Cowboys, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Or just like real life sailing around on the sea. That's for me. So anyways, stuff going on in the near future. We've got Friday show, which I'm hosting. We've got Sunday show where we're going to be covering some stuff that I don't know about. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to go ahead and finish up the show with some copywriting. So I want to thank you all for spending your valuable time with us here on the DGen Roundtable. As Agent Jay said not too long ago, we know that time is your most valuable asset, and we appreciate you investing it right here with us. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Will Stevenson, but more importantly, you have been watching the DGen Roundtable. Mrs. Producer, go ahead and get that trigger figure ready, because it's time to remind all the folks at home to remember to DGen responsibly.